Please be seated. Before we begin, I do have a statement for the House. Today, Tuesday, May 12, 2026, marks the 156th anniversary of the day the Manitoba Act received royal assent in the Canadian Parliament. This Act created the province of Manitoba, and accordingly, May 12th has been designated as Manitoba Day. Members may recall that in recent years, we had featured several Indigenous cultural items in the Chamber on Manitoba Day. As of March 3rd, 2026, however, these items are now on permanent display in the Chamber as one small step in the Assembly's ongoing journey towards reconciliation with Indigenous communities in Manitoba. The beaded mace runner hangs over the Speaker's throne, while the star blanket cushion is displayed on the case to my left. The mace runner depicts the imagery found on the treaty medal gifted during the making of the numbered treaties and symbolizes the relationship between First Nations and the Crown and the sacred promises made during treaty making. In the spirit of reconciliation, the star blanket is recognized as a gift to mark the beginning of partnerships and goodwill between Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities. The star blanket cushion is a symbol of honor, respect, and connection, and is presented to mark significant life events, offering warmth, comfort, and spiritual protection to the recipient. Also in the display case is a polar bear carving, which was presented to us in 2023 by the Legislative Assembly of Nunavut. Along with the carving is a Métis sash presented to our Assembly in 2023 by the Manitoba Métis Federation. Initially created as a multi-purpose tool, the sash has become a fundamental symbol of Métis people, representing their unique identity and preserving their history in each interwoven thread. These items are displayed in the Chamber today and every day to recognize and pay tribute to the Indigenous peoples of Manitoba. They serve as a reminder that this Chamber and our legislative building reside on the traditional lands of Indigenous people as we recognize each day in our land acknowledgement. In addition to these items, as we have done for many years now, featured in today's Speaker Parade is our original Manitoba mace, carried by our acting Deputy Sergeant-at-Arms, Sukaman Son Singh Johan, and I'm pleased to note that Sukaman Son is the first turban-wearing person to carry the mace in the history of our legislature as an example of the modern Assembly's commitment to diversity. Our original mace made its first formal appearance on May 15, 1871, on the first sitting day at the first session of the first Manitoba Legislature held in the home of A.G.B. Bannatyne in the Red River Settlement. The Bannatyne home was destroyed by fire in December 1873, but the mace survived. After 13 years of service, our original mace was retired in 1884 when our current mace debuted. The original mace has a permanent home on display outside the Speaker's office, coming out of retirement annually to mark this day and other special events. In honor of Manitoba Day and with this rich history in mind, I encourage all of us to remember that our work in this place is part of a very long legacy of service to the people of Manitoba. Thank you, and happy Manitoba Day to everyone. And now on to routine proceedings, introduction of bills. Committee reports. Tabling of reports. Ministerial statements. The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. This week is Allied Healthcare Professionals Week, and it is also National Nurses Week. This is a week where we get to recognize and celebrate the incredible work and contributions of allied healthcare professionals across Manitoba and nurses across Manitoba. Our government cannot thank these folks enough for everything they do for Manitobans in every corner of our province. Today, I'd like to take a moment, however, to especially recognize and reflect on National Nurses Week, and in particular, Indigenous Nurses Day, which is today, and to celebrate these incredible nurses who are the backbone of our healthcare system. This year's Nursing Week theme, Honorable Speaker, is the power of nurses to transform health. That reflects what Manitobans already know, that nurses change our lives on a daily basis across Manitoba. They provide skill, compassionate care in our hospitals, personal care homes, clinics, and communities across Manitoba, and our government is proud to support these nurses and strengthen their profession here in our province. Since coming into office, we've hired more than 1,400 net new nurses across Manitoba. That is the direct result of working with nurses, listening to nurses, and working to expand nursing education and training seats to help grow the workforce of the future. And we're taking real action to improve the working conditions that nurses are in every single day by introducing legislation to end mandatory overtime and establish safer nurse-to-patient ratios. We are the only jurisdiction in the entire country to take that step, Honorable Speaker. And today I want to recognize an extraordinary Indigenous nurse who joins us in the gallery, Joshua Monias. Joshua is a proud member of Garden Hill Anishinaabe Nation, and before becoming a nurse, he worked for 13 years as a healthcare aide at Seven Oaks Hospital while pursuing his dream of nursing. Through the PINE program at the University of Manitoba, he earned his Bachelor of Nursing degree and now works with the Manitoba Anishinaabe Mobile Addictions Network at Four Arrows Regional Health Authority. Joshua provides addictions medicine, harm reduction supports, STBBI testing and screening, and pathways to treatment for Island Lake members in Winnipeg and in northern communities. What makes his story especially powerful, Honorable Speaker, is that one of his first jobs as a teenager was cleaning the nursing station in his home community. Today, he returns to those same communities as a nurse caring for his own people. Joshua's story is one of perseverance, compassion, and giving back to his community. He is a role model for Indigenous youth, for men in nursing, and for all Manitobans. As a nurse myself, I know firsthand the skill, compassion, and resilience that nurses require across our healthcare system. The system demands that of them every single day. Joshua is an incredible example of not only the excellence of nurses, but of allied healthcare professionals too. A 2-in-1 this week is pretty special. And Joshua, we thank you so much for everything that you do for Manitobans. Honorable Speaker, all nurses carry experience with them into their roles, lived experience, their whole identities that contribute to making our province a better place and our healthcare system better for all Manitobans. And so today, as a nurse, and on behalf of myself and the member for Tuxedo, we stand alongside nurses in this province proudly as, again, the backbone of our healthcare system, but working together to make it better for generations of Manitobans to come. Over the past year, the Premier and myself have had the privilege of visiting nurses in hospitals, clinics, personal care homes, in communities, in coffee shops, and at events across Manitoba to hear directly about their experiences and ideas. Just recently at the Grace Hospital, the Premier and I spent more than 2.5 hours listening directly to nurses about the challenges they face and the solutions they want to see. Those conversations continue to shape our work as a government. Nurses are experts in patient care, and it's critical their voices are heard and respected in decisions about our healthcare system. We celebrate nurses this week, but the truth, Honorable Speaker, is that Manitobans rely on and appreciate nurses every single day of the year. Every day, nurses provide Manitobans with expert, compassionate care during some of the most difficult and vulnerable moments of their lives. From emergency rooms to northern nursing stations, from mental health care to home care, nurses are there for Manitobans at every stage of life. Nurses have helped carry our healthcare system through some of its most difficult moments, and Manitoba is stronger because of their dedication. So I want every nurse in Manitoba to know that your work matters, your expertise matters, and that your government sees and values your contributions. Joshua is joined in the gallery by Kiki Muller, Heather Monias, and Candace Champagne, who all work for Four Arrows Regional Health Authority. I'd ask all members of our House to join me in recognizing all of these incredible nurses, to join me in celebrating and recognizing National Nurses Week, Indigenous Nurses Day, and in thanking nurses across Manitoba for the incredible work they do every single day. Happy National Nurses Week.
The honourable member for Roblin.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And certainly we have a lot to celebrate in Manitoba today, it being Manitoba Day, Allied Health Professionals Week, National Nursing Week, and Indigenous Nurses Day as well. And I rise today to pay particular respects to National Nursing Week and extend our sincere appreciation to the nurses who are the backbone of Manitoba's healthcare system. Nurses are more than healthcare professionals. They are caregivers, advocates, educators, and leaders in our communities. Every day, they provide compassionate, patient-centered care in hospitals, long-term care facilities, community clinics, and remote settings across our province. Their work saves lives, supports families, and strengthens our entire healthcare system. I also want to acknowledge the important role of organizations like the Association of Regulated Nurses of Manitoba, the Manitoba Nurses Union, and the Nurse Practitioner Association of Manitoba, who continue to advocate for nurses and bring forward thoughtful, practical solutions to improve both working conditions and patient care. Nurses understand the realities of our healthcare system better than anyone, and their voices are essential to shaping policies that deliver real results for patients. And while this week is about recognition, it must also be about action. Nurses deserve safe workplaces, manageable workloads, and the respect that comes with the critical work that they do. No nurse should face violence or abuse while caring for patients. Ensuring their safety in their workplaces must always be a priority. And I do want to take this opportunity, this National Nursing Week, to personally thank some nurses that I've had occasion to meet recently. And that's the incredible pediatric nurses working on the CH3 inpatient unit at Children's Hospital. To Julia, Laura, Paige, Jennifer, Erica, Danielle, Joey, and the many others whose names I regrettably did not write down. Thank you from my heart and my family to yours, and I know I speak on behalf of all Manitobans who have visited Children's, whose families have been cared for at that facility. It was very eye-opening, and I learned a lot about the work that you do, and I have an entirely new respect for the work of pediatric nurses in particular. Thank you for everything that you do. And to all of the nurses working in emergency rooms, intensive care units, long-term care, public health, community care, education, and remote nursing stations, thank you. Your dedication does not go unnoticed, and the sacrifices you and your families make are deeply appreciated. On behalf of our team, I want to thank the nurses that show up every day, serving patients with the utmost skill and professionalism. Happy National Nurses Week. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Member statements. The honourable member for Fort Richmond.
Honourable Speaker, it is my honor to recognize all of the brave police officers serving Manitobans during National Police Week, a vital tradition established in 1917 to build deeper connections between law enforcement and the diversities they proudly serve. This year's theme, Committed to Serve Together, resonates deeply here in Fort Richmond and across our province. The safety of our families is built on the foundation of mutual trust and collective effort. Our officers do not simply enforce the law. They demonstrate a 24/7 commitment to ensuring every resident feels safe and supported in their community. Recently, one officer came by to protect our annual general meeting in Fort Richmond. I also had the opportunity to join officers from the West District Station on the patrol ride-along. I witnessed firsthand the high-level teamwork and coordination required to keep our rapidly growing community safe. With great respect, I watched as officers moved seamlessly from high alert navigation to providing calm, expert judgment, a true testament to the training and character of the Winnipeg Police Service. In every situation, they acted with empathy, patience, and professionalism. Our government and our Justice Minister has provided record funding to law enforcement across Manitoba, and we're committed to supporting their well-being as they do this important work. I also want to take a moment to commend the Winnipeg Police Association, the dedicated union that advocates tirelessly for the well-being, rights, and working conditions for our officers. Strong officers mean safe communities, and the association plays an essential role in making that possible. Please join me in thanking all police officers across Manitoba and the Winnipeg Police Service for their sacrifice and their unwavering commitment, and congratulate the Winnipeg Police Association on the successful 99th Police Charity Ball. I would ask the names of my guests be entered into Hansard. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Roblin.
I rise today to recognize some of Manitoba's brightest young scientific minds. This year, for the first time, all 5 students selected from the Bison Regional Science Fair to represent Manitoba at the Canada-wide Science Fair are women, an extraordinary milestone that reflects excellence, innovation, and the growing leadership of women in STEM. The Bison Regional Science Fair has quickly become one of Canada's largest regional science fairs, engaging hundreds of Manitoba students in hands-on research, experimentation, and innovation. I would particularly like to recognize my constituent, Maria Farkas Freitas, a grade 8 student at Westgate Mennonite Collegiate. Maria's project, called Superfuel on a Schedule, The Effects of Glucose During the Menstrual Cycle, explored how hormonal cycles influence glucose responses and contributes to a greater understanding of women's health research. Joining Maria on Team Bison Manitoba are Jean Monique Kabakungan of Holy Ghost School, who studied corrosion and infrastructure durability, Ramit Kaur Ray of Dasmesh School of Winnipeg, who investigated the environmental impacts of road salt on oxygen movement in ecosystems, Amy Clark of Sanford Collegiate, who focused on improving sustainable energy harvesting systems, and Kavishi Udamalaj of Fort Richmond Collegiate, who researched innovative drug combinations for small cell lung cancer treatment. Together, these students represent the very best of Manitoba's future, curious, innovative, and determined to make a difference in the world around them. Their accomplishments are a source of pride for our province. I would also like to recognize Dr. Anju Bajaj, STEM advisor for Manitoba Catholic Schools and founder of the Bison Regional Science Fair, whose vision and leadership have helped create opportunities for young Manitobans to pursue excellence in science and innovation. And I'd also like to commend Mr. Ewan Burton and the others on the Bison leadership team, the volunteer judges, classroom teachers, professional mentors, and everyone involved in this very successful annual event. I ask all members of this House to join me in congratulating all of Team Bison Manitoba as they represent Manitoba on the national stage at the Canada-wide Science Fair in Edmonton later this month.
Order, please. There's some guests in the gallery that may have to leave before we're done member statements, so I'd like to draw members' attention to the public gallery, where we have with us from Edmund Partridge School, 23 grade 6 students under the direction of Erica Gunther, and this group is located in the constituency of the Honourable Member for St. John. We welcome you here today. Now back to member statements. The Honourable Member for St. River.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I rise today to recognize May as Small Business Month in Manitoba. This month's recognition reflects Bill 208, the Manitoba Small Business Month Act. I want to thank Chuck Davidson, President and CEO of the Manitoba Chambers of Commerce, for his partnership in helping me shape and advance this legislation. Small businesses make up over 97% of Manitoba's business sector, with more than 44,000 operating across our province. They create jobs, they deliver essential services, and help drive industries that keep Manitoba moving forward. Choosing to shop locally has a direct impact on our communities. When Manitobans spend their dollars at local businesses, that money stays here at home, supporting jobs, strengthening our economy, and helping our communities grow and thrive. At the same time, we know that many small business owners face significant barriers. Trailblazing entrepreneurs continue to succeed despite systemic challenges. Their success speaks to their resilience and their deep commitment to their communities. That is why we must continue to take action to support them. Through Budget 2026, our government is helping lower costs and support growth through targeted measures like the Small Business Security Rebate and workforce training initiatives. Small Business Month is a chance to recognize the hard work and resilience of small business owners across this province, and to encourage all Manitobans to support local, not just this month, but all year long. I want to note that May 12th is Manitoba Day, a time to reflect on our province's history and the people who continue to shape it. Supporting local small businesses is one of the most meaningful ways we can honor that legacy and invest in Manitoba's future. I want to recognize the many Chambers of Commerce branches from across Manitoba who are here with us today, and I ask my colleagues to please rise and join me in celebrating all of them and Manitoba Small Business Month. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Riding Mountain.
Honourable Speaker, I rise today to recognize a remarkable milestone in the community of Shoal Lake, the 100th anniversary of a historic building that has become a cherished family home for Jim and Eugene Kennedy. Built in 1926 as a Canadian Pacific Railway station, the Shoal Lake Depot once stood as a vital hub of activity in the community. In those early days, trains carried passengers, mail, freight, and opportunity across the prairies, helping to build and connect communities like Shoal Lake. Stations such as this one were the lifeblood of rural Manitoba, linking families, farmers, and businesses to the rest of the country. In 1974, the station was carefully moved from its original location, and a few years later, in 1978, Jim and Eugene purchased the property. What was once a bustling railway station soon became a warm and welcoming family home. Over the past nearly 5 decades, Jim and Eugene have preserved much of the station's original character while adapting it for family life. Within its historic walls, they raised 4 children, 2 sons and 2 daughters, and created a home filled with memories while maintaining an important piece of Shoal Lake's heritage. Mr. Kennedy has long held a passion for railways, reflected not only in the preservation of the former station, but also in the beautiful railway-themed features on the property, including a garden railway that continues to delight visitors and neighbors alike. Their dedication to maintaining the home and grounds has ensured that this unique structure remains a proud reminder of Manitoba's railway history. As we know, the expansion of railways played a crucial role in opening the West, supporting agriculture, commerce, and settlement across our province. Today, as this historic building marks its 100th year, we celebrate not only the station itself, but also the Kennedy family's stewardship of this important landmark. On behalf of all members of the Manitoba Legislature, I extend sincere congratulations to Jim and Eugene Kennedy on this wonderful milestone and thank them for preserving a special part of Shoal Lake's history. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Further member statements? The Honourable Member for Kildonan River East.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I rise today to recognize an incredible leader in our province, Dr. Zita Somakoko, and many of her team members who join us today in the gallery. I ask for leave to have my guest names entered into Hansard. Zita is the Chair, President, and founder of the Black Manitobans Chamber of Commerce, an organization that is creating opportunities for Black entrepreneurs to thrive right here in Manitoba. Through advocacy, mentorship, and connection, The Chamber is helping business leaders navigate systems, access opportunities, and grow their ideas into successful enterprises. She is also the Chief Executive Officer of Strat HR Solutions, where she brings decades of experience in HR and labor relations to support organizations and workers alike. Her work is grounded in the belief that when we invest in people, we build stronger workplaces and stronger communities. That commitment shows up in life-changing ways, including, Honorable Speaker, when she provides childcare for her adult education students. This year, she was named a 2026 honoree among the 100 accomplished Black Canadian women, one of Manitobans' own, recognized nationally for her impact and leadership. Zita also represented our great province on the global stage, speaking at the UN Permanent Forum on People of African Descent. There, Dr. Zita spoke about systemic barriers, equity, and the need to move from conversation to real, measurable change. I know Zita well. I am honored to call her my friend. She often confuses people by calling me her sister, and my children her niece and nephew. While we are not blood related, Honorable Speaker, this sentiment touches my heart and speaks to the strong bond we've created over motherhood, faith, family, and community commitment. Today, I thank God for bringing Zita into my life. We celebrate you, my sister. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
So just before moving on, I've got a few introductions here that I would like to do. Draw the attention of all honorable members to the public gallery, where we have with us today Uriel Amy Clark, Anna Mae Clark, Jean Monique Carbucan, Melanie Tor Carbucan, Marie Farkas Freitas, Trish Farkas, Carlos Freitas, Ramanik Kaur, Gurvinder Kaur, and Dr. Anju Baja, who are guests of the Honourable Member for Roblin, and we welcome you here today. Also in this public gallery, we have with us today Corey Wiles, President of Winnipeg Police Association, Phil Neron, Vice President of the Winnipeg Police Association, Superintendent Daryl Ramkinson, Executive Officers, Sergeant Aaron Boruk, Division Number 51, Patrol Sergeant Pat Riom, Division 51, and his family, Patrol Sergeant Robin Kipling, Division 51, and their guests are the Honourable Member for Fort Richmond, and we welcome you here today as well. I would also draw the attention of all honourable members to the public gallery, where we have with us today Dr. Rita Zomokoko and her team, or guests of the Honourable Member for Kildonan River East, and we welcome you all here today as well. I would also like to draw the attention of all honourable members to the public gallery, where we have with us today Rob Price-Lewis, Jennifer Ludwig, Claire Agnew, Sean Harbottle, Amanda Gibson, Tessa Massey, Stephanie Dunn, Samantha Hampton, Gwen Black, Stefan Chichota, Elizabeth Staftiuk, Jody Winkler, Adam Nippon, Brian Kelly, Chuck Davidson, Sarah Duvall, Waverly Dovey, Brianne Boulay, who are guests of the Honourable Member for Seine River, and we welcome you all here today as well. And now some sad news. Josie Ock, will be graduating from École Saint-Joachim this June. Her hard work and dedication to her studies have led her to the next chapter of her academic journey as she prepares to attend the Université de Saint-Boniface in this fall in the Baccalaureate des Arts General program. She hopes to continue her education beyond this degree with the goal of pursuing a career in politics and law. As a page from a rural community, Josie is especially grateful for the opportunity to serve in the Manitoba Legislative Assembly. This experience has given her a unique and meaningful insight into the inner workings of government and has broadened her understanding of the important role this institution plays in shaping the lives of Manitobans. She would like to express her sincere gratitude to all members of the Assembly, staff, and fellow pages who have made her time here so memorable. The friendship she has formed and the lessons she has learned will stay with her for years to come. She is particularly thankful to those who offered their guidance, encouragement, and support throughout her time in this role. Josie is committed to sharing her experience with other youth, especially those from rural communities, and to encourage greater awareness of the opportunities available to become involved in government. She hopes to inspire others to engage, learn, and take part in shaping the future of Manitoba. Serving as a page has been an incredible honor, one that she will carry with her for the rest of her life. And I will say she's done it with a certain amount of joie de vivre. She's been very bright and cheerful throughout her time here. She hopes to return one day and thanks the Assembly once again. Good luck on your future. Oral questions. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Manitobans will all agree that safety in your home, community, schoolyards, and place of work must be taken very seriously. Sorry, let me set the record straight. Everybody except for the MLA for Point Douglas, the Minister of Housing, Addictions, and Homelessness, would take safety seriously. Tonight, North Logan residents are hosting their second self-run and self-organized community town hall to discuss safety concerns related to this NDP government and them imposing a drug consumption site in their neighborhood. You would think that the MLA representing those constituents would want to hear what they are saying, but not this NDP government. A community safety meeting related to people who have been assaulted outside of a mobile drug consumption site, and this minister refuses to attend. Why is the minister afraid of her own constituents?
The Honourable First Minister.
Actually, the member opposite is the only one who's not concerned with safety. As we'll see today, he's not concerned with the safety of LGBT kids in our communities. When it comes to the Minister for Housing, Addictions and Homelessness, she's doing an amazing job. She's bringing people together. She's making the community safer. She's creating more opportunities for healing and recovery, but also harm reduction and evidence-based strategies to respond to HIV and congenital STBBIs, which just a moment ago, the member opposite clapped for a nurse who was doing the exact same work.
That's right.
So I don't know how you clap for the nurse 1 second and then take shots at somebody who's leading the way in the other, but that's the approach of the PCs. The minister will be in committee tonight here at the legislature, and I fully support her work.
Hear, hear.
Just before we move on, I'd remind members to make sure they're always directing their comments through the chair. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
So much for a listening government. The MLA from Point Douglas won't even show up to a meeting hosted by her own constituents to address safety concerns about a drug consumption site that this NDP government is forcing onto the residents of Point Douglas. The minister has an ideology set, and she will not listen to anything that Manitobans have to say that might contradict that. There will be representation from every stakeholder tonight: city councillors, chief of police, Aboriginal health and wellness, and the PC MLAs will be there to listen to the residents of Point Douglas and their concerns. The NDP actively opted not to engage with these citizens. Why is the minister so afraid to attend? Is it because she knows she's wrong? Is it because she knows that opening a drug consumption site is the wrong thing to do? Is it because she is afraid to listen to her constituents who are begging her?
Member's time has expired. The Honourable First Minister.
Honourable Speaker, I want to inform the House that today the Government of Manitoba intervened at the Supreme Court of Canada. We did so in the matter of Saskatchewan v. UR Pride and in support of members of the LGBTQ community here in Manitoba and across Canada. I'll table for the House the factum that we filed by way of our representatives there, and we look forward to arguing in front of the Supreme Court justices. Our point is this: democracy should prevail, equality should prevail, and we are going to stand up among all Canadians to ensure that those rights are respected. On the other side of the House, will the member be filing as an intervener to back up the hateful rhetoric he was the poster boy for in the last election campaign?
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition on a final supplementary question.
Democracy, like listening to people, like listening to your constituents, like listening to people who have concerns about crime and safety. Democracy that this MLA from Point Douglas, this Minister of Addictions, is denying their democracy. The Premier should speak to his own team and get them to listen to their own constituents when it comes to the democratic right. The Minister won't be there tonight. So, will the Premier be there tonight? Will the Premier have the courage to go out and tell residents of North Logan and Point Douglas that he is going to force a drug consumption site in their neighborhood? Maybe the Minister of Justice will be there. Will the Minister of Families be there? The answer is no. Not one of them will show up tonight because they are afraid of the truth. And the truth is that this NDP is misguided by their ideology to jam a drug consumption site in their neighborhood. So, will the Premier do the right thing? Listen to the residents of North Logan.
Member's time has expired. The Honourable First Minister.
The truth is that just a few short months ago, this member was sitting in committee room 254 and begging for forgiveness and saying drug consumption site was the wrong term, supervised consumption sites were a good idea. And then now here he is, he's trying to run to the front of the Conservative attack on this thing. We all know that he's a phony Conservative anyways. That's why he's blocking the cut to the grocery tax. But is he a phony hater of LGBT folks? Or does he actually hate LGBT folks? I would like to know the answer to this. We have intervened at the Supreme Court of Canada because our position is clear. Equality before the law, equality before government, equality when you go to vote. You only have to look at the member for Red River North to know that they don't take your vote seriously. But will the member opposite address our position? Can we say that all of this chamber supports the Government of Canada and equality for all Canadians?
That's right.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition on a new question.
When our PC government increased the basic personal exemption in 2022, tens of thousands of Manitobans got to keep more of their hard-earned money. We are proposing that same thing today. Let Manitobans keep more of their money. Now, seniors, one of the most vulnerable groups in our society, seniors on a limited income, were protected when we increased the basic personal exemption. Now, under this NDP government, they are taking money away from seniors. They are increasing the taxes on seniors. The NDP removed the tax indexation, so as inflation grows, you are losing more of your money. Will the NDP do the right thing today? reverse their decision. Let Manitobans keep more of their money and support our call for the increase of the basic personal exemption today. Yes or no?
The Honourable First Minister.
Quick reality check. Our budget bill will take all the food off of all food and drink at grocery stores in Manitoba. Now, do you know who disagrees with what the member just said?
Order.
Do you know who disagrees with what the member just said? It's a former PC cabinet minister who said, quote, "We could have done more in the way of tax relief for Manitobans." I still have that feeling after you leave office. Could have done more for tax relief. You know who that was? Former Premier Heather Stephenson this past Saturday. So don't argue with us about cutting taxes. We cut the gas tax. We're cutting the food tax. We're saving you money on your mortgage payments. We're saving you money on your rent payments too. We are the party of affordability. They're the party of hating on vulnerable minorities. Will he address the Supreme Court intervention and tell us whether or not he supports equality for all Manitobans?
Stop the clock, please. If I could ask the Honourable First Minister, was what he was quoting from, was that a public document? The Honourable First Minister.
The statement, and I quote, "We could have done more in the way of tax relief for Manitobans," end quote, by Heather Stephenson, was from May 8, 2026, in a comment made at a panel at the Canada Strong and Free Networking Conference. So it was a public statement. If you would like the documents proving that there was no tax relief under the Tories, I'd be happy to bring that in so that all the House could see.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
The Premier can stand up and laugh all he wants, make jokes all he wants, but the reality is life in Manitoba is harder now than it's ever been. Taxes are higher now than they've ever been. And what does this Premier offer you? Pennies. Sprinkles pennies at your feet and wants you to be grateful. On our side of the House, we're calling for real affordable measures, giving Manitobans thousands of dollars back on their taxes, increasing your basic personal tax exemption. Under this NDP government, they have only increased your taxes and given you less. Seniors living on a fixed income are struggling now under this NDP government. The Premier has actively chosen to target and discriminate against seniors when he removed the tax indexation of your income. So, will the Premier do the right thing today and reverse his decision, support Manitoba families and seniors? Yes or no?
The Honourable First Minister.
The member targeted and discriminated against LGBT people in the last election. Call me crazy, call me a wild man, but I don't have to attack any minorities in order for me to win an election. That's right. And it will stay that way. I also wanted to share for the House a consumer price index, which I will table, a report showing that inflation in 2022 was at 8%. I'll ask the member opposite to reflect on who was in power during 2022 when inflation hit a record high. Again, we're bringing a cut to groceries. We're cutting the fuel tax. We're saving you money on your housing costs. $50 million, page 144 in this year's budget. $50 million is how much taxes are going down in this province this year. Left unaddressed by this member, however, is his silence when it comes to standing up for freedom and equality and human rights at the Supreme Court.
Members, time has expired. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition on a final supplementary question.
The Premier might have forgotten, in 2022 there was a worldwide pandemic, but in 2026, what is there? Just this failing NDP government. This Premier broke his promise from 2023 when he said, and I quote, "We will offer a broad middle tax cut by indexing tax brackets," end quote. Well, the Canoe government has broken that promise. One of the first things they did was to remove indexation because the NDP want more of your money. Yesterday, I asked the Premier if he would commit to ensuring funding was available to keep a program open that delivers food hampers to seniors. He wouldn't even answer the question. He stood up, he made jokes, and he laughed. He laughed at seniors who are struggling to get by. He continues to stand up in this chamber and laugh at Manitobans who are struggling. Premier, 3 years into your mandate, will you finally do something to help Manitobans today? Yes or no?
Order. The honourable member's time has expired, and I would remind members to always direct their comments through the chair. The Honourable First Minister.
You know, he's just saying it that way for the social media clip later on, so I hope he puts this in the social media clip also. Taxes are going down in Manitoba this year by $50 million. Check page 144 in budget 2026. We're taking tax off of fuel. We're taking the tax off of groceries. Oh, wait. Unless, of course, they block our budget bill. No. So go ask the PCs why they want you to pay more when you go to the grocery store. At the same time, we've intervened on behalf of LGBT folks at the Supreme Court because we have a simple proposition on this side of the House. You shouldn't have to want to hate gay people in order to also want a more affordable cost of living. Yeah. On that side of the House, they always marry those two lightning rods. On this side of the House, we say we can have a better economy and a more inclusive society at the same time.
The Honourable Member for La-Vérendrye.
Honourable Speaker, the economy is shrinking. That's why tax revenue is decreasing. For months, we have warned Manitobans about the slowing economy that this government has brought forward. Now, the numbers are in. Inflation in Manitoba rose another 2.5%, while Manitoba exports have collapsed by 27.2% compared to just last year. That's more than a quarter of our exports vanished in a year. That's $1.6 billion. I don't know how many different ways to frame this before the minister's going to wake up, but that means fewer dollars flowing into our economy, less investment, and more pressure on already struggling Manitoba families. If this government isn't able to build our economy, why has this government failed to at least protect Manitoba's economy?
Member's time has expired. The Honourable Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
Honourable Speaker, first I want to take this opportunity to thank all small businesses here right across Manitoba, this being Small Business Month. Second, Honourable Speaker, I want to thank the Chambers of Commerce right across the province who do incredible work. Thank you for the work you're doing to bring the business community together, support small local businesses, and help to grow our economy in every corner of the province. Now, we know that we're setting a platform, an environment for economic success. And how do I know that? Well, I'm happy to let this House know that we have the lowest unemployment rate in the entire country right here in Manitoba. We'll keep working to grow our economy stronger for workers and businesses right across the province.
The Honourable Member for La-Vérendrye on a supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, small businesses are building our economy, but they need the support of this minister. Right. And we're seeing a 27% decrease in exports. And the minister, next, he'll blame tariffs, but non-U.S. trade is up is down 8.7%. So that means that this problem is far larger than the tariffs. Other provinces are fighting for investment, expanding trade relationships, and growing their economies, while Manitoba continues to fall further behind. So, Honourable Speaker, can the minister name a single major new export opportunity or trade agreement he has successfully delivered for Manitoba producers and the businesses?
The Honourable Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
Well, we know that what the member opposite knows about exports are exporting members of his caucus who seem to be fleeing day in and day out. That's their record. And so while member opposite focuses on the dwindling members of his own party and trying to keep the ragtag group together, we'll focus on actually building an economy that works here. We know that exports play an important role, and that's why we're supporting manufacturers and their efforts to make products built here in Manitoba to reach global markets. That's why we took the tax off of equipment for manufacturers. That's why we're investing in the Port of Churchill to make sure we provide those export infrastructure tools for reach global markets for Manitoba producers. And that's why we're doubling our export support program so we can reach new markets and make new business deals. All those things,
Time has expired. The honourable member for Laval-Andre on a final supplementary question.
There you have it, Honourable Speaker. Not a single new export opportunity for Manitoba. Couldn't name a single one. It gets worse. Last week in estimates, when I asked about trade deals, this minister said, and I quote, "It's not our role necessarily to be making trade deals." And I'll table those comments. Well, if the Minister of Trade does not believe trade is his job, Manitobans are left wondering, what exactly does he do, or his $500,000 trade representative, all day long when Manitobans are desperate for expanding our economy? Exports are collapsing, affordability is worsening, and Manitoba families are paying the price. How much longer will the Premier tolerate this level of economic failure?
The Honourable Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
Honourable Speaker, let me be clear with Manitobans that members' opposite narrative is completely off base. They're the ones who, in fact, in their old, former, failed government, closed the office with our largest trading partner in the United States. They're the ones who actually thanked Donald Trump for bringing the tariffs on to Canadian businesses. That's not an approach that we want to replicate, not something we want to duplicate. And in fact, we're going to take the approach of working with businesses right across our province and ensuring that we have the business leadership to deliver on those success, whether that's come from supporting our NFI group with the new Canadian All-Build program for their electric bus fleet, whether that is supporting the aerospace sector with hiring hundreds of new people, or our mining sector with new billion-dollar projects going right across northern Manitoba.
Time has expired. The honourable member for Roblin.
Home care in Winnipeg is falling apart because of changes made by the NDP government last year. Home care clients, their families, and home care workers themselves are speaking out about the issues that continue to plague the system. Missed and cancelled visits, rushed appointments, different workers coming every day, not to mention staff challenges with impossible scheduling assignments and workloads. One of those Manitobans is Ms. Marlene Bertrand, a member of both the Order of Manitoba and the Order of Canada, who joins us in the gallery today. Since the minister insisted as recently as last week that the problems they caused in home care have been solved, can the minister now explain to Ms. Bertrand why she continues to suffer at the hands of a home care system that is not putting client needs first?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Honourable Speaker, I welcome the question from the critic on home care. Home care in Manitoba is a top priority for our government for many reasons. None of least is the fact that we used to have the gold standard of home care across Canada right here in our province. And unfortunately, for many years, home care was cut by the previous government. We're doing the work of not only restoring those cuts and fixing that damage, but also getting a deep understanding of how we move home care into the future of this province. So we've added dozens and dozens of additional staff. We've set up committees that are directed by the folks who deliver healthcare to Manitobans, but we know there's much more work to do. Anybody who has challenges with home care, it's so important they reach out.
Member's time has expired. The honourable member for Roblin on a supplementary question.
Ms. Bertrand has tried getting a meeting with the Minister of Health to discuss these concerns on a number of occasions, and her experiences with home care point to a system in total disarray. Sometimes she gets a new and different worker every day. Sometimes multiple workers show up at one time, but on more occasions they show up early, late, or not at all, often with little to no notice. Her home care services have become extremely unreliable. She also told me, and she's told the minister, about a number of concerning incidents involving home care staff where she was made to feel unsafe in her own home. But when she tried to communicate those concerns, she was ignored. Ms. Bertrand did everything right. She took her concerns up the chain, she reached out to the government and to the minister, and yet no action has been taken. Why do Manitobans have to come to the legislature?
Member's
just
time
to
has
be
expired.
heard?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
I want to thank Marlene for her service to Manitobans. She is an outstanding Manitoban and outstanding Canadian and has been duly recognized as such. The member opposite is engaging in behavior on the floor of this House that is incredibly unbecoming and irresponsible. First, she says that I've never met with this person, then she says that I have met with her but haven't addressed her concerns. Honourable Speaker, I take very seriously this responsibility. I meet with folks on a regular basis. I am always happy to meet with Manitobans who are having challenges. I will meet with you today, of course. And it's disappointing that the member opposite chose to do this instead of simply connecting me to you so that I can address those concerns. I will have that meeting today, Honourable Speaker, and I will not take the approach that the critic is taking, which is incredibly harmful to Manitobans.
Just remind members to always make sure they're directing comments through the chair. Honourable Member for Roblin.
Oh boy.
My job as health critic is to bring the concerns of Manitobans to the floor of this legislature, particularly when those Manitobans have already reached out to the minister's office to no avail. Ms. Bertrand has had a long and accomplished career in public service and advocacy for women and some of Manitoba's most vulnerable populations. She told me that she's dealt with many agencies where there have been problems, but never in her life has she seen anything like this. And when a home care client like Ms. Bertrand is made to feel unsafe in her own home, and yet that same worker is sent back to her, that's unacceptable. When home care clients rely on the home care program to maintain their independence and dignity, and the home care program doesn't deliver, that's unacceptable. And when this Minister of Health refuses to acknowledge and address these problems, that's unacceptable. What specific actions will the Minister take
Member's
to
time has
address them as
expired. The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Honourable Speaker, my office has been in contact with Marlene since February. As I stated, I look forward to meeting with her directly myself. I want to say again, when the critic says that I have not spoken to a Manitoban, and then says that I have spoken to a Manitoban, and is putting words on the record that are clearly not aligned with reality, I am going to stand up and name that, because that does real harm to Manitobans. I will always meet with Manitobans who have concerns, as will my office, and I will ensure that this is addressed immediately. But we've done the work of making sure that we're improving those very concerns. The cancellation rate, while she was advising Heather Stephenson to cut health care, was 3.2%. Now it's under 1%.
Member's time has expired. The Honourable Member for Midland.
Families in Winnipeg are opening up their tax bills, wondering how life has become so unaffordable under this NDP. Families are being hammered by skyrocketing property taxes, increasing assessments, and higher utility rates. While the previous PC government increased education funding to historic levels while keeping taxes low, this NDP has done the exact opposite. They removed all the guardrails protecting Manitoba homeowners and have failed to fund education adequately. Why has this NDP chosen tax hikes over a proper and adequate education funding model for Manitobans?
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Honourable Speaker, Manitobans are getting bigger education and property tax rebates than ever before.
That's right.
In that member's own community, 9 out of 10 people in her community are better off under the approach we brought forward than was in place under their government. So again, it's confusing to me what the message is when she goes back to her home constituency. What is she fighting for? To raise 9 out of 10 people's costs? That's probably not a winning formula, Honourable Speaker. What we know is that for years, Manitobans had a government that was not focused on reducing their costs. Finally, they do. Of course, there's only one group of people in this province fighting against lowering costs. That's the members opposite. They don't seem to want to support our BITSA bill that will take PST off all groceries in Manitoba. The question is, will she support it?
The Honourable Member for Midland on a supplementary question.
55% of Winnipeg property owners were worse off under this NDP system than they were under the PC rebate. The NDP affordability credit at $1,500 didn't cover those increased property taxes. The NDP credit at $1,600 isn't covering the increased taxes. And the $1,700 credit won't even cover the increases that families are seeing this year because Louis Riel School Division has been hiked by 43% since this NDP came into office, 38% in Seven Oaks, and 37% in Pembina Trails, all since this NDP was elected. It got so bad this year, the City of Winnipeg had to include an insert distancing themselves from this NDP's decisions to hike school taxes. The NDP proved it was possible.
Time has expired. The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Honourable Speaker, nobody in Manitoba was better off under the PC.
That's right.
No one.
That's right.
Closing 3 emergency rooms in Winnipeg, creating healthcare chaos, sending Manitobans across North America for surgeries. They have a horrible record that they've left behind. Manitobans know what they did. When it comes to supporting Manitobans on affordability, the record is clear. Gas tax cuts, hydro rate freezes. We're lowering your education property tax bill. We're lowering costs for renters. Across the board, we're lowering costs. And this last budget in this Spitzel bill seek to go further. The only people in Manitoba standing between savings and us getting to where we need to get are the Manitoba PCs. Will they get on board with
time has
saving
expired. The Honourable Member for Midland.
Asking questions soon enough.
Property tax bills are telling a very different story because the $1,600 credit this year isn't even accounting for the drastic increases that Winnipeggers are seeing through their school division tax increases. The previous PC government was able to fund education to historic highs while ensuring that property taxes remained low. The NDP has failed on all accounts. They removed guardrails for homeowners, they removed the 2% cap on school divisions, and they have not funded education to inflation. School divisions themselves are coming out and saying that the funding is not adequate. Life is becoming increasingly unaffordable under this NDP. When will they stand up and admit that they made a mistake and revert back to the 50% rebate in education fund?
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Honourable Speaker, there's only one party in this province that's actually funding education the way it needs to be funded. That's on this side of the House. It is absolutely ludicrous for the members opposite to stand in this House and suggest that they were supporting education in the way it needs to be supported. And we know that, of course, they also did do the work when it comes to affordability. And finally, Manitobans have a government that's actually trying to do that work. Not only are we proposing to raise education property tax credits to $1,700, not only are we proposing to raise the renter's tax credit, which they cut. We're raising that to $675. We're proposing to take the PST off of all groceries in the province. And again, there's only one group in this whole province standing against that. It's the members opposite. Right. Will they stand in this House today?
Members' time has expired. The Honourable Member for Lac du Bonnet.
The last 3 years under the PC government, River East Transcona School Division received $25.3 million of funding. Under the last 3 years, under the failed Canoe government, they have received $12.4 million. Their taxes this year, or over the last 3 years, are going up by 36%. Manitobans just cannot afford this Canoe government. Will the minister reverse course and fund education fairly?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And today on Manitoba Day, it gives me great pride to get up as the Minister of Education and talk a little bit about how we are funding education finally at the way it's supposed to be funded, stable, predictable funding. If the member recalls, just yesterday he asked a similar line of questioning about the River East Transcona School Division, and I got up and shared about the many clinicians, teachers, and other support workers that the River East Transcona School Division has been able to add to their complement just this year. And that's just this year, Honourable Speaker, and that's just River East Transcona School Division. The fact of the matter is, the truth, and Manitobans know the truth, every single school division in Manitoba, every single year since we've been elected, has seen a stable and predictable increase to their funding. What was his record, Honourable Speaker? Year and years after decrease.
The honourable member for Lac du Bonnet on his supplementary question.
So the facts are, to all Manitobans, is that this failed canoe government has actually funded education less to various different school divisions all across this great province. The Progressive Conservatives funded Louis Riel School Division in their last 3 years to the tune of $23.2 million. Under the last 3 years of this failed canoe government, received $12.2 million to Louis Riel. Louis Riel, over the last 3 years, have raised taxes by 43%. Again, Manitobans can't afford this canoe government. Will this minister reverse course and finally start funding education fairly?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
What Manitobans couldn't afford, Honourable Speaker, what teachers and what families and what students couldn't afford any longer was another term of this failed, callous PC government. And just listen to them. I hope Manitobans are listening. I hope Manitobans are listening, because this is their education plan, Honourable Speaker. Cuts. That's what they're talking about. We know what their healthcare plan was, Honourable Speaker. Yeah. Closing emergency rooms. Yeah. The member from Lac du Bonnet gets up today, and I hope Manitobans are listening. What is his education plan? Cuts. That's what he did when he was minister, and that's his plan here today. So I asked the member, what school would he like us to close? Yeah. Like the three emergency rooms that were closed under his watch that continue to cause the healthcare chaos in this system. What school would he want me to close?
The honourable member for Lac du Bonnet on a final supplementary question.
The numbers don't lie, Honourable Speaker. Matter of fact, the only government that's cutting education funding is this failed canoe government, Honourable Speaker. Pembina Trails School Division in the last 3 years of the PCs received $26.2 million in funding. The last 3 years under this failed canoe government, they received $4.9 million. Wow. Pembina School Division raising taxes by 37% in the last 3 years. Again, Manitobans cannot afford this failed canoe government. When will this minister finally start funding education fairly in this great province of ours?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And the member opposite is right about one thing, that numbers don't lie. So let's talk about some numbers. Let's talk about his record. So in the Free Press, what they reported, and I'll quote, Honourable Speaker, in 2021, a few weeks after the Tories introduced their rebate, so we're juxtaposing the incredible homeowners affordability tax credit designed by the best finance minister in the country against theirs. What did the Free Press have to say about it? In 2021, a few weeks after the Tories introduced their rebate, we learned Pallister was due to receive a $4,000 discount on his 9,000 square foot, $2.4 million Wellington Crescent mansion. We do things differently, Honourable Speaker. Yeah. We work for Manitobans. Our homeowners affordability tax credit is designed to help those.
The honourable member for Tuxedo.
Honourable Speaker, this week is National Nursing Week, a great time to recognize the compassion, professionalism, and dedication of nurses in Manitoba. In every community across our province, nurses provide expert care to patients, support families through difficult moments, and help keep our healthcare system resilient and reliable. Can the Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care please tell Manitobans more about the incredible work that nurses do each and every day?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
I thank my nurse friend and MLA colleague, the MLA for Tuxedo, for that excellent question. Honourable Speaker, during National Nurses Week, we profoundly thank every single nurse across Manitoba for the incredible care they provide to Manitobans in our hospitals, personal care homes, clinics, and in our communities. Nurses are the backbone of our healthcare system, and Manitobans count on them each and every day. This is why our government is taking real action to support and retain nurses, including hiring more than 1,400 net new nurses across Manitoba since coming into government. We deeply value nurses in everything that they do. We are working with nurses to rebuild healthcare. We're going to keep listening to nurses every single day. Much done, more to do. Happy
time has expired. The honourable member for Borderland.
In this NDP government's Manitoba Jobs Agreement in section 20.2.3.2, we find the following, and I quote, Manitoba residents that are members of a union will be given preference over Manitoba residents that are not members of a union, end quote. Clearly, this is blatant discrimination. The Construction Association of Rural Manitoba says that rural Manitoba workers stand to lose jobs because of this NDP policy, because 95% of the construction workforce in rural Manitoba is non-unionized. So why is this NDP government putting rural Manitobans out of work?
Why?
The Honourable Minister of Public Service Delivery.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I want to thank the member for that question. Honourable Speaker, we are listening to Manitobans and we are listening to Manitoba workers. Every person who works on MJ is better off. They are making more money, Honourable Speaker.
Order.
They are more safer at those work sites. They have a more benefit at the work site, Honourable Speaker. We will continue to listen to Manitoba workers, unlike member opposite, who only care about the rich people, who only care about the millionaire people. He only care about the people who comes to Manitoba, who are from other provinces like Saskatchewan, from Alberta. I will not gonna listen to that member at all, Honourable Speaker. Thank you very much.
The honourable member for Borderland on a supplementary question.
Well, the minister needs to refresh his talking points. But if he says he's listening, he can listen to Evan Keller, president of Keller Developments in Brandon, who said that the Manitoba Jobs Agreement is, quote, clearly driven by our current government's connection to the unions. That's all it is. It absolutely makes no sense, end quote. But for this NDP government, it's clear that there is one disturbing way in which this does make sense for them, and that's because it allows them to skim a little off the top of public projects to grease their political fortunes and enrich their political friends. When will this NDP minister do the right thing and end this corruption?
When?
The Honourable Minister of Public Service Delivery. Order. Order.
Honourable Speaker, if they're talking about the corruption, they don't have to go far. Just look to his left and he will see it right there, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, every single worker who works on MJ is better off. MJ is about safer work site, better benefit, and fair wages, Honourable Speaker. I have never met a worker who doesn't want to make more money, Honourable Speaker, who doesn't want to be safe at the work site, Honourable Speaker. We are turning the construction site into a training site, Honourable Speaker, unlike my member opposite who only care about his only rich friends, Honourable Speaker. Thank you.
That's great.
The honourable member for Borderland on a final supplementary question.
The Manitoba Jobs Agreement is putting rural Manitoba workers out of work at the same time that it's driving up the costs of building roads, schools, and hospitals. In fact, the new Brandon School is expected to cost 20% more to build because this NDP government is chasing away competition, killing Manitoba jobs, and enriching themselves with their slush fund fees. Sean Wood said 3 local companies in the Brandon area would have bid on earthwork at the new Brandon School site, but they stayed away because of the complications and risks introduced by the MGA. So why won't the minister cancel this job-killing policy
Order.
today?
The honourable Minister of Public Service Delivery. The honourable Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I don't know why the member hates Manitoba workers, Honourable Speaker.
Right.
Conservatives don't listen to Manitoba workers. They only care about people who bring workforce into Manitoba, Honourable Speaker. They only listen to the lobbyist, Honourable Speaker. I have asked the member, has he gone out to the work site? Has he listened ever to a person who doesn't want to make more money, Honourable Speaker? He has no answer for that. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
The time for oral questions has expired. Petitions. The Honorable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to present the following petition.
Josh, you should send me something. She'll probably read them.
To the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Thanks to investments made under the previous PC provincial government as part of the Clinical and Preventative Services Plan, construction for the new Portage Regional Health Facility is well underway. The facility and surrounding community would greatly benefit from added diagnostic machinery and equipment, but specifically the addition of an MRI machine. Number two, an MRI machine is a non-invasive medical imaging technique that uses a magnetic field and computer-generated radio waves to create detailed images of organs and tissues in the human body. It is used for disease detection, diagnosis, and treatment monitoring. Number three, Portage La Prairie is centrally located in Manitoba and is on the #1 highway in the Southern Health St. Jude Health Authority. Currently, there is only one MRI machine in the RHA. An MRI machine, number 4. Thank you. Number 4, an MRI machine located in the Portage Regional Health Facility will reduce transportation costs for patients as well as reduce the burden on stretchers, services, and ambulance use. It will bring care closer to home and reduce wait times for MRI scans across the province. Number 5, located around Portage La Prairie are the Dakota Teepee, Dakota Plains, Sandy Bay, and Long Plains First Nations reserves. Indigenous people in Canada disproportionately face barriers in access to services and medical care. An MRI machine located in the Portage Regional Health Facility will bring care closer to their home communities and provide greater access to diagnostic testing. Thank you. Number 6, located in close proximity to the new Portage Regional Health Facility is the Southport Airport. This aerodrome has a runway length that is more than adequate to support medical air ambulance services. This would provide the opportunity to transport patients by air from more remote communities to access MRI imaging services. Number 7, the average wait times for Manitobans to receive an MRI scan is currently 6 to 8 months. Having an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility will help reduce these wait times for patients and provide better care sooner. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. To urge the provincial government to support the investment and placement of an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility in Portage La Prairie, Manitoba. Honorable Deputy Speaker, this petition has been signed by Jenna Ems, Lorna Anderson, and Chris Everett, along with many, many other Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for Roblin.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. And the background to this petition is as follows. Phoenix School, a kindergarten to grade 5 school located in Headingley, has experienced consistent enrollment growth over the last several years. Enrollment is expected to reach 275 students in the next 2 years. Because the school is now over capacity, the school division has had to install portable classrooms on site as of fall 2024. For several consecutive years, the top capital priority of the St. James Assiniboia School Division has been the renovation and expansion of Phoenix School. In 2022, the Phoenix School expansion and renovation project was approved to proceed to the design phase. The project included, among other amenities, a new gymnasium, 2 new classrooms, a multi-purpose room, and room for 74 childcare spaces. In June 2024, the school division received notice from the provincial government that the project has been deferred. There is no guarantee if or when the project will move forward. There are currently hundreds of children on a wait list for childcare in Headingley. The daycare operator in Phoenix School has been told that they will continue to have space within the school for the 2024-2025 school year only, that further expansion of childcare space within the school is not possible, and that space may be reduced moving forward due to the shortage of classrooms. If new space is not constructed as planned, many families may be left without childcare. It is critical that the expansion and renovation of Phoenix School proceed as planned in order to support the needs of students, teachers, and families in the growing community of Headingley. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. To urge the provincial government to proceed with the planned renovation and expansion of Phoenix School without further delay. And this petition is signed by Ken Rempel, Travis Berry, Heather Bolesky, and many, many other Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for Lac du Bonnet.
I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. And the background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, children with disabilities often require childcare beyond the age of 12. Children with disabilities aged 12 to 17 face a gap in publicly available care programs. Number 2, the current adolescent care service model creates undue hardship on caregivers. Number 3, while developing children may be entering into extracurricular activities, school clubs, or spending time with friends independently, children with disabilities have reduced opportunities for such social and recreational opportunities due to the lack of spaces. Number 4, the current self-managed adolescent care models place additional workloads onto already stressed families, requiring parents to seek all alternative options and prove their need for care. Number 5, the current adolescent care system, as part of overall respite and support available to families is failing families of children with disabilities, as identified in the Manitoba Advocate for Children and Youth's Bridging the Gaps report. Number 6, to date, none of the 9 recommendations it contains have been completed beyond 50%. Number 7, the recommendations in this report touch on many of the issues facing families, with adolescent care being but a small component of their overall needs. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number 1, to urge the provincial government to fully implement recommendations in the Bridging the Gaps report. Number 2, to urge the provincial government to immediately implement official policies and procedures that are more respectful and collaborative, which also minimize harm faced by families seeking help from Children's Disability Services. Number 3, to urge the Minister of Families to arrange for a full review of employment supports provided by Children's Disability Services for children with disabilities aged 12 to 17, including direct consultation with impacted families, and to explore a full spectrum of options to support families, empowering them to choose solutions that best fit their needs. This petition is signed by Angelina Sisi, Abdov Sisi, Allison Fedar, and many, many more fine Manitobans. Thanks, Joseph.
The Honourable Member for Agassiz.
I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly. To the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, thanks to the investment made under the previous PC provincial government, a part of the Clinical and Preventative Services Plan, construction for the new Neepawa Health Centre is well underway. The facility and surrounding community will greatly benefit from added diagnostic machinery and equipment, but specifically the addition of a CT scanner. Number 2, the new hospital is being built east of Neepawa on the north side of the Yellowhead Highway, PTH 16. It will be nearly double the size of the existing hospital and will better serve patients from this broader Western Manitoba geographic area. Number 3, CT scanners are standard equipment that combine X-ray images from several angles to create detailed three-dimensional models of structures inside the body. They perform critical diagnostic procedures that support the diagnosis and treatment of a wide range of injuries and diseases, and the new equipment will be able to complete these important scans faster and with sharper and cleaner images. Number 4, the average wait times for Manitobans to receive a CT scan is currently 7 weeks, and there are over 14,000 patients on the wait list to receive the diagnostic imaging procedure. Number 5, the new CT scanner will reduce these wait times as it would decrease the need for patients to travel long distances, sometimes involving overnight stays to access the care they need. Number 6, the new scanner will reduce pressure on emergency response services who would no longer have to transport these patients, opening up appointments in other communities and allowing more people to get the care they need sooner. Number 7, a CT scanner in the Neepawa Health Centre will enable further treatment and diagnosis to take place in community, reducing wait times for patients in surrounding areas and reducing the burden of travel to other facilities. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to support the investment and placement of a CT scanner machine in the Neepawa Health Center in Neepawa, Manitoba. This petition has been signed by Marian Libedinsky, Carol Wallman, and Ann Nielsen, and many other fine Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for Steinbach.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. And the background to this petition is as follows. 1. The intersection of Provincial Trunk Highway 75, PTH 75, and Provincial Road 305, PR 305, at St. Agathe has become increasingly dangerous for motorists and pedestrians. 2. Over the past 7 years, there have been at least 20 accidents at this location, resulting in injuries and fatalities. 3. This intersection is heavily used by community members, commuters, and commercial traffic, making safety improvements critical. 4. Immediate action is needed to mitigate accidents and prevent further loss of life. 5. An in-service road safety review was completed in 2022, which included recommended improvements, but no action plan. 6. Immediate action and implementation on the maintenance issues and short-term strategies identified in the 2022 study are needed. 7. Development of an action plan with timelines for the medium-term strategies identified in the 2022 study is required. 8. Installation of traffic lights or a controlled signal system will make the intersection safer. 9. Additional strategies such as reduced speed limits approaching the intersection and the addition of rumble strips to alert drivers of the upcoming intersection will save lives. 10. Construction of dedicated turning lanes to reduce collision risk and other traffic calming designs will help reduce collisions, injuries, and fatalities at the intersection. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. 1. To urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to undertake safety improvements at the intersection of PTH 75 and PR 305 at St. Agathe. 2. To urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to prioritize measures that will reduce accidents and fatalities, including, but not limited to, those outlined in the 2022 in-service road safety review. And Honourable Deputy Speaker, this petition is signed by many, many fine Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for Selkirk.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I am pleased to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. To the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba, the background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, in 2022, according to Statistics Canada, there was an 11.4% increase in food prices. Number 2, staple food products such as baked goods, margarine or other oils, dairy products, and eggs have seen some of the largest price increases. Number 3, agriculture and the agri-food sectors contribute close to 10% of Manitoba's GDP. Number 4, they are increased costs added at every step of the process for Manitoba's agriculture producers. In order to make 18 cents from one bread loaf worth of wheat, farmers are paying carbon tax at every stage of production to grow the crop to get it to market. Number 5, grain drying, fertilizer, and chemical production, mushroom farming, hog operations, the cost of heating of a livestock barn, machine shops, and utility buildings are all examples of how carbon tax on natural gas and other fuels cost farmers and consumers more each year. Number 6, in food production, there are currently no viable alternatives to natural gas and propane. The carbon tax takes money away from farmers, making them less profitable and hindering rural agriculture producers' ability to invest in upgrades and improve efficiency while reducing emissions. Number 7, the provincial government neglected farmers in the 6-month fuel tax holiday until the opposition critic and local stakeholder groups called for their inclusion. Number 8, other provincial jurisdictions and leaders have taken action on calling on the federal government to remove the punishing carbon tax and or stop collecting the carbon tax altogether. Honorable Deputy Speaker, we petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to call on the federal government to remove the punishing carbon tax on natural gas and other fuels and farm inputs for Manitoba agricultural producers and the agri-food sector to decrease costs of putting food on the table for Manitoba consumers. Honorable Deputy Speaker, this petition has been signed by Barry Harash, Rick Rivers, Bill Muller, and many more fine Manitobans. Thank you.
The honourable member for Borderland.
Honourable Speaker, I wish to present the following petition. To the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, the intersection of Provincial Trunk Highway 75, PTH 75, and Provincial Road 305, PR 305, at St. Agath has become increasingly dangerous for motorists and pedestrians. Number 2, over the past 7 years, there have been at least 20 accidents at this location, resulting in injuries and fatalities. Number 3, this intersection is heavily used by community members, commuters, and commercial traffic, making safety improvements critical. Number 4, immediate action is needed to mitigate accidents and prevent further loss of life. Number 5, an in-service road safety review was completed in 2022, which included recommended improvements, but no action plan. Number 6, immediate action and implementation on the maintenance issues and short-term strategies identified in the 2022 study are needed. Number 7, development of an action plan with timelines for the medium-term strategies identified in the 2022 study is required. Number 8, installation of traffic lights or a controlled signal system will make the intersection safer. Number 9, additional strategies such as reduced speed limits approaching the intersection and the addition of rumble strips to alert drivers of the upcoming intersection, will save lives. Number 10, construction of dedicated turning lanes to reduce collision risk and other traffic calming designs will help reduce collisions, injuries, and fatalities at the intersection. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number 1, to urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to undertake safety improvements at the intersection of PTH 75 and PR 305 at St. Agath. And number 2, to urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to prioritize measures that will reduce accidents and fatalities, including, but not limited to, those outlined in the 2022 In-Service Road Safety Review. And this petition has been signed by Megan Brazier, Heather Bolo, and Sheila Keys, along with many, many, many Manitobans.
The honourable member for Interlake Gimli.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Sorry, I guess that would be Honourable, thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Honourable Deputy Speaker, I wish to present the following petition. To the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. 1, reliable access to emergency services, including 911, is a fundamental public safety necessity and can mean the difference between life and death. 2, on March 23rd of 2025, a resident in the rural municipality of Fisher tragically passed away after family and friends were unable to reach 911, despite making numerous attempts due to an internal 911 routing malfunction at a major cellular provider. 3, during the emergency, loved ones attempted to provide CPR while frantically trying to connect with emergency medical services, EMS, ultimately only reaching help by contacting a local RCMP officer directly. 4, the March 2025 tragedy is not an isolated incident, as there have been other reports of failed 911 cellular calls in neighboring rural municipalities. 5, in April 2024, the provincial government indicated that it was undertaking a review of 911 services, with a final report expected in the following months. 6, in August 2024, following another 911 service failure, a provincial representative repeated the same assurances that were previously made, but as of March 2025, no report has been released. 7, rural Manitobans continue to face challenges accessing emergency services due to unreliable cell service and gaps in the ability of some providers to connect to emergency telecommunications infrastructure, particularly in regions like the Interlake. 8. The 911 dispatch center serving rural and northern Manitoba, located in Brandon, was not made aware of the March 2025 service interruption, raising concerns about the lack of real-time monitoring and coordination between telecommunication providers and emergency response systems. 9. Local officials, including representatives from the RM of Fisher, have previously raised concerns with the province and the RCMP regarding the reliability of 911 services in rural areas, calling for immediate action. 10. The public has a right to expect that 911 service will be accessible during an emergency, regardless of the location or mobile service provider. 11. The provincial government must ensure that emergency communication systems are adequately staffed and resourced, particularly for rural and northern regions. 12. Access to 911. 12. Access to 911 must not be compromised by infrastructure failures or private service providers. 13. Timely and transparent communication between telecommunication companies and emergency service providers is essential to protect public safety. 14. Effective government oversight. Thank you. 14. Effective government oversight and accountability are necessary to ensure public confidence in emergency response systems. 15. Failure to invest in resilient, province-wide emergency response systems and telecommunications infrastructure puts rural lives at risk and undermines public trust in essential services. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. 1. To urge the provincial government to investigate the 911 network failures that contributed to the March 2025 tragedy in the Interlake region and to publicize those findings. 2. Thank you. 2. To urge the provincial government to work with municipalities, telecommunication providers, and first responders to strengthen 911 reliability and ensure uninterrupted access to emergency services for all Manitobans, especially those living in rural and northern communities. Honorable Deputy Speaker, this petition has been signed by Caitlin Lindquist, Stuart Gard, Stuart Letellier, and Honorable Deputy Speaker, many, many other fine Manitobans. Thank you, Honorable Deputy.
The honourable member for Lakeside.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker, and I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba, and the background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, ensuring that teachers have a robust background in the subjects they teach is essential for maintaining high-quality education and fostering well-rounded learning experiences for all Manitoba students. Number 2, the recent amendments by the Province of Manitoba to the Teaching Certificates and Qualifications Regulation under the Education Administration Act have significantly lowered the standards for subject area expertise required for a teacher certification. Number 3, these amendments eliminated all subject area requirements for teacher certification, including major and minor teachable subjects and subject-specific requirements for early to middle years streams. Number 4, specifically, the amendments removed are 1, seniors credit requirements in an approved teachable major and minor, early to middle years credit requirements in an approved teachable major and minor, and early to middle years credit requirements for specific subjects including math, physical or biological science, English or French, and history and or geography. Number 5, key stakeholders such as parents, post-secondary educators outside the facilities of education, and business partners were not consulted about the changes. Number 6, the removal of subject-specific requirements undermines the educational quality in Manitoba schools by permitting teachers to enter the classroom without sufficient training in core academic areas, thereby compromising the education that Manitoba students receive. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number 1, to urge the Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning to reverse recent amendments to the Teaching Certificates and Qualifications Regulation that weaken subject area requirements for teacher certification, and to reinstate teachable majors and minors and early middle years requirements, which are essential for ensuring teachers have strong knowledge in core subject areas. And number 2, to urge the provincial government to address teacher shortages through alternative measures that uphold rigorous subject area standards, which are critical for providing quality education to all Manitoba students. Honourable Deputy Speaker, this petition has been signed by Sandy Scott, Murray Scott, Trey King, and many, many Manitobans. Thank you.
The honourable member for La Vérendrye.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. 1, the intersection of Provincial Trunk Highway 75, PTH 75, and Provincial Road 305, PR 305, at St. Agath has become increasingly dangerous for motorists and pedestrians. 2, over the past 7 years, there have been at least 20 accidents at this location, resulting in injuries and fatalities. 3, this intersection is heavily used by community members, commuters, and commercial traffic, making safety improvements critical. 4, immediate action is needed to mitigate accidents and prevent further loss of life. 5, an in-service road safety review was completed in 2022, which included recommended improvements, but no action plan. 6, immediate action and implementation on the maintenance issues and short-term strategies identified in the 2022 study are needed. 7, development of an action plan with timelines for the medium-term strategies identified in the 2022 study is required. 8, installation of traffic lights or a controlled signal system will make the intersection safer. 9, additional strategies such as reduced speed limits approaching the intersection and the addition of rumble strips to alert drivers of the upcoming intersection will save lives. 10, construction of dedicated turning lanes to reduce collision risk and other traffic calming designs will help reduce collisions, injuries, and fatalities at the intersection. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. 1, to urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to undertake safety improvements at the intersection of PTH 75 and PR 305 at St. Agath. 2, to urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to prioritize measures that will reduce accidents and fatalities, including but not limited to those outlined in the 2022 In-Service Road Safety Review. This petition has been signed by Anna Lam, Sarah Duval, Sheldon Goulet, and many, many other Manitobans.
The honourable member for Riding Mountain.
I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. These are the reasons for this petition. 1, upgrading Provincial Trunk Highway 45 will accelerate economic development as it will enhance connectivity, facilitate efficient transportation, and promote economic growth in the region. 2,
Economic development will be further enhanced as improved road infrastructure attracts businesses, encourages investment, and creates job opportunities. 3, roads meeting the Roads and Transportation Association of Canada RTAC standards improve both safety and efficiency as they can handle heavier loads, reducing the number of trips required for goods transportation. 4, safer roads further benefit both commuters and commercial vehicles, minimizing accidents and damage. 5, upgrading to RTAC standards ensures resilience to challenges caused by climate change, such as thawing and flooding, which negatively impact road conditions. 6, efficient transportation networks contribute to Manitoba's economic competitiveness as upgraded roads support interprovincial and international goods movement, benefiting both trade and commerce. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to take the necessary steps to upgrade Provincial Trunk Highway 45 from Russell to Provincial Trunk Highway 10 to meet our tax standards. This petition has been signed by many, many, many fine Manitobans. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Turtle Mountain.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. These are the reasons for this petition. Number 1, persons struggling with mental health as a sole condition may access medical assisted in dying unless Parliament intervenes. Number 2, suicidality is often a symptom of mental illness, and suicide is the second leading cause of death for Canadians between the ages of 10 and 19. Number 3, there have been reports of unsolicited introduction to medical assisted by dying to non-seeking persons, including Canadian veterans, as a solution for their medical and mental health issues. Number 4, legal and medical experts are deeply concerned that permitting Canadians suffering from depression and other mental health illnesses to access would undermine suicide prevention efforts and risk normalizing suicide as a solution for those suffering from mental illness. Number 5, the federal government is bound by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms to advance and protect the life, liberty, and security of its citizens. Number 6, Manitobans consider it a priority to ensure that adequate supports are in place for mental health of all Canadians. Number 7, vulnerable Manitobans must be given suicide prevention counseling instead of suicide assistance. And number 8, the federal government would focus on increasing mental health supports to provinces and improve access to these supports instead of offering medical assisted dying for these of mental health illnesses. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number 1, to urge the provincial government to lobby the federal government to stop the expansion of medical assisted in dying to those whom mental illnesses is a sole condition. And number 2, they urge the provincial government to lobby the federal government to protect Canadians struggling with mental illness and facilitating treatment, recovery, and medical assisted in living, not death. This has been signed by Scott Sandberg, Gary Sarus, and Glenn Verkine, and many other Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for Spruce Woods.
Deputy Speaker, I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number one, in 2022, according to Statistics Canada, there was an 11.4% increase in food prices. Number two, staple food products such as baked goods, margarine and other oils, dairy products and eggs have seen some of the largest price increases. Number three, agriculture and the agri-food sectors contribute close to 10% of Manitoba's GDP. Number four, there are increased costs added at every step of the process for Manitoba's agriculture producers. In order to make 18 cents from one bread loaf worth of wheat, farmers are paying carbon tax at every stage of production to grow the crop and get it to the market. Number five, grain drying, fertilizer and chemical production, mushroom farming, hog operations, the cost of heating a livestock barn, machine shops, and utility buildings are all examples of how the carbon tax on natural gas and other fuel costs farmers and consumers more each year. Number six, in food production, there are currently no viable alternatives to natural gas and propane. The carbon tax takes money away from farmers, making them less profitable and hindering rural agriculture producers' ability to invest in upgrades and improve efficiency while reducing emissions. Number seven, the provincial government neglected farmers for in the 6-month fuel tax holiday until the opposition critic and local stakeholder groups called for their inclusion. Number eight, other provincial jurisdictions and leaders have taken action on calling on the federal government to remove the punishing carbon tax and or stop collecting the carbon tax altogether. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to call on the federal government to remove the punishing carbon tax on natural gas and other fuels and farm inputs for Manitoba agriculture producers and the agri-food sector to decrease the costs of putting food on the table for Manitoba consumers. This petition has been signed by Kathy Fair, Kate Drury, Cyril Drury, and many, many more Manitobans.
The honourable member for Springfield-Wershot.
I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. 1. The intersection of Provincial Trunk Highway 75, PTH 75, and the Provincial Road 305, PR 305, at St. Agath has become increasingly dangerous for motorists and pedestrians. 2. Over the past 7 years, there have been at least 20 accidents at this location, resulting in injuries and fatalities. 3. This intersection is heavily used by community members, commuters, and commercial traffic, making safety improvements critical. 4. Immediate action is needed to mitigate accidents and prevent further loss of life. 5. An in-service road safety review was completed in 2022, which included recommended improvements but no action plan. 6. Immediate action and implementation on the maintenance issues and short-term strategies identified in the 2022 study are needed. 7, development of an action plan with timelines for the medium-term strategies identified in the 2022 study is required. 8, installation of traffic lights or a controlled signal system will make this intersection safer. 9, additional strategies such as reduced speed limits, approaching the intersection, and the addition of rumble strips to alert drivers of the upcoming intersection will save lives. 10, construction of dedicated turning lanes to reduce collision risk and other traffic calming designs will help reduce collisions, injuries, and fatalities at the intersection. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. 1, to urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to undertake safety improvements at the intersection of PTH 75 and PR 305 at St. Agathe. 2, to urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to prioritize measures that will reduce accidents and fatalities, including but not limited to those outlined in the 2022 In-Service Road Safety Review. This is signed by Brendan Christian, Scott Patzker, Guy Saint-Hilaire, and many, many other Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for Midland.
Honourable Speaker.
Good work, Jen.
I wish to present the following petition. To the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba, the background to this petition is as follows. 1, ensuring that teachers have a robust background in the subjects they teach is essential for maintaining high-quality education and fostering well-rounded learning experiences for all Manitoba students. 2, the recent amendments by the Province of Manitoba to the Teaching Certificates and Qualifications Regulation under the Education Administration Act have significantly lowered the standards for subject area expertise required for teacher certification. 3, these amendments eliminated all subject area requirements for teacher certification, including major and minor teachable subjects and subject-specific requirements for early middle year streams. 4, specifically, the amendments removed senior year's credit requirements in an approved teachable major and minor, and early middle year's credit requirements in an approved teachable major and minor, and early middle year's credit requirements for specific subjects, including math, physical or biological science, English or French, and history and or geography. 5, key stakeholders, such as parents, post-secondary educators outside the facilities of education, and business partners were not consulted about the changes. 6, the removal of subject-specific requirements undermines the educational quality in Manitoba schools by permitting teachers to enter the classroom without sufficient training in core academic areas, thereby compromising the education that Manitoba students receive. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. 1. To urge the Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning to reverse recent amendments to the Teaching Certificates and Qualifications Regulation that weaken subject area requirements for teacher certification, and to reinstate teachable majors and minors and early middle years requirements, which are essential for ensuring teachers have strong knowledge in core subject areas. 2. To urge the provincial government to address teacher shortages through alternative measures that uphold rigorous subject area standards, which are critical for providing quality education to all Manitoba students. This is signed by Glenn Irving, Michael Doyle, Rick Giesbrick, and many, many more Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for Red River West.
I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, thanks to the investment made under the previous PC provincial government as part of the Clinical and Preventative Services Plan, construction of the new Portage Regional Health Facility is well underway. The facility and surrounding community would greatly benefit from added diagnostic machinery and equipment, but specifically the addition of an MRI machine. Number 2, an MRI machine is a non-invasive medical imaging technique that uses a magnetic field and computer-generated radio waves to create detailed images of organs and tissues in the human body. It is used for disease detection, diagnosis, and treatment monitoring. Number 3, Portage La Prairie is centrally located in Manitoba and is on the number 1 highway in the Southern Health or Saint-Sud Health Authority. Currently, is only one MRI. There's only one MRI machine in the RHA. Number 4, an MRI machine located in the Portage Regional Health Facility will reduce transportation costs for patients, as well as reduce the burden on stretcher service and ambulance use. It will bring care closer to home and reduce wait times for MRI scans across the province. Number 5, located around the Portage La Prairie area are the Dakota Teepee, Dakota Plains, Sandy Bay, Long Plains First Nation reserves. Indigenous peoples in Canada disproportionately face barriers in access to services and medical care. An MRI machine located in the Portage Regional Health Facility will bring care closer to their home communities and provide greater access to diagnostic testing. Number 6, located in close proximity to the new Portage Regional Health Facility is the Southport Airport. This aerodrome has a runway length that is more than adequate to support medical air ambulance services. This would provide the opportunity to transport patients by air from more remote communities to access MRI imaging services. Number 7, the average wait times for Manitobans to receive an MRI scan is currently 6 to 8 months. Having an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility will help reduce these wait times for patients and provide better care sooner. Honourable Speaker, we petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. To urge the provincial government to support the investment and placement of an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility in Portage La Prairie, Manitoba. This petition is signed by Pat Norwell, Catherine Sullivan, Peggy Moon, and many, many more Manitobans. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Swan River.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, Manitoba Housing will be placing homeless people and people with multi-layered mental illnesses and addictions into what has always been known as seniors housing. Manitoba Housing is placing people in elderly persons housing EPH buildings without vetting them. Number 3, there is no minimum age limit stated on the Manitoba Housing information page for elderly persons housing buildings. Number 4, the tenant service coordinator and or the building manager of elderly persons housing buildings should be given the right to deny applicants based on their first-hand knowledge of the applicant being homeless, having multi-layered mental illnesses and or addictions, or any other reason they are aware that could cause potential harm to residents. Number 5, proper vetting should include a criminal record check, a vulnerable persons record check, and the consent of the tenant service coordinator and or the building manager of elderly persons housing building. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number 1, to urge the Minister of Housing, Addictions, and Homelessness to use seniors housing for what it was intended, the seniors. Number 2, to urge the Minister of Housing, Addictions, and Homelessness to require a minimum age of 55 years for residents in all elderly persons housing EPH buildings. And number 3, to urge the Minister of Housing, Addictions, and Homelessness to engage in proper vetting of all applications of people desiring to live in elderly persons housing or EPH buildings. This petition has been signed by Carrie Stillborn, Michelle Eisner, and Natasha Harapstead, and many, many other fine Manitobans. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Brandon West.
Well, thank you, Honourable Speaker. I'm wondering if you could canvass the House to see if there's leave to allow me to read the petition for the Honourable Member for Morden Winkler.
Is there leave to allow the Honourable Member for Brandon West to read the petition from the Honourable Member for Morden Winkler? Leave has been denied. The Honourable Member for Brandon West.
Well, thank you, Honourable Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. And the background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, Kelly Verway, a beloved young woman from Portage-la Prairie, Manitoba, was tragically killed in a car crash caused by a repeat violent offender with a long criminal history. Number 2, despite repeated violations of his bail conditions, the offender was free to roam the streets and to ultimately claim Kelly's life. This tragedy was entirely preventable. Number 3, while the criminal code falls under federal jurisdiction, provinces have been given the responsibility for the administration of justice, allowing for meaningful provincial action on bail reform to ensure public safety. Number 4, other provinces have taken proactive steps to strengthen bail enforcement. But Manitoba has not used all of the available tools to address this issue effectively. Number 5, the provincial government has the ability and the responsibility to advocate for and implement measures that protect its citizens by ensuring that repeat violent offenders are not released into our communities without proper safeguards. Number 6, immediate action is required to close gaps in the justice system that allow dangerous criminals to remain free, which puts innocent Manitobans at risk. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number 1, to urge the provincial government to take immediate and decisive action on bail reform to address serious deficits in enforcement by utilizing all available provincial mechanisms to strengthen warrant enforcement, increasing bail supervision, and opposing release of offenders, thus ensuring that repeat violent offenders are held accountable and public safety is prioritized over leniency. And number 2, to urge the provincial government to lobby the federal government to immediately repeal provisions of the criminal code that allow for the continued victimization of law-abiding Manitobans while granting repeat offenders additional rights. And Honourable Speaker, this petition was signed by Alana Macaulay, Bernadette Garnham, Kim Tooth, and many, many other fine Manitobans.
The honourable member for Portage-La Prairie.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I wish to present the following petition. The background to this petition is as follows. Kelly Verway, a beloved young woman from Portage-La Prairie, Manitoba, was tragically killed in a car crash caused by a repeat violent offender with a long criminal history. Number 2, despite repeated violations of his bail conditions, the offender was free to roam the streets and to ultimately claim Kelly's life. The tragedy was entirely preventable. Number 3, while the criminal code falls under federal jurisdiction, provinces have been given the responsibility for the administration of justice, allowing for meaningful provincial action on bail reform to ensure public safety. Number 4, our provinces have taken proactive steps to strengthen bail enforcement. But Manitoba has not used all the available tools to address this issue effectively. Number 5, the provincial government has the ability and the responsibility to advocate for and implement measures that protect its citizens by ensuring that repeat violent offenders are not released into our communities without proper safeguards. Number 6, immediate action is required to close gaps in the justice system that allow dangerous criminals to remain free, which puts innocent Manitobans at risk. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number 1, to urge the provincial government to take immediate and decisive action on bail reform to address serious deficits in enforcement by utilizing all available provincial mechanisms to strengthen warrant enforcement, increasing bail supervision, and opposing release of offenders, thus ensuring that repeat violent offenders are held accountable and that public safety is prioritized over leniency. And number 2, to urge the provincial government to lobby the federal government to immediately repeal provisions of the criminal code that allows for continued victimization of law-abiding Manitobans while granting repeat offenders additional rights. This is signed by Carla Girk, Jim Kleiwerk, Vanessa Sherko, and many, many more Manitobans. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Thank you.
No more petitions, grievances, orders of the day, government business, the Honourable Government House Leader.
Oh, okay, Honourable Speaker. Pursuant to Rule 34, Bracket 7, I am announcing the private member's resolution to be considered on the next Tuesday of private member's business will be one put forward by the Honourable Member for Kildonan River East. The title of the resolution is National Strategy for Silver Alerts.
It has been announced that pursuant to Rule 34, Bracket 7, that the private member's resolution to be considered on the next Tuesday of private member's business will be the one previously put forward by the Honourable Member for Kildonan River East. The title of the resolution is National Strategy for Silver Alerts. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Honourable Speaker, could you please canvass the House for leave to waive Rule 150 to allow Bill 300, the Winnipeg Foundation Amendment Act, and Bill 301, the Westminster United Church Foundation Incorporation Amendment Act, to be referred to a standing committee today without the required 2 days' notice.
Is there leave to waive Rule 150 to allow Bill 300 and Bill 301 to be referred to a standing committee today without the required 2 days' notice? Is there leave? Leave has been granted. The Honourable Government House Leader.
I am announcing that in addition to bills previously referred, Bill 300, the Winnipeg Foundation Amendment Act, and Bill 301, the Westminster United Church Foundation Incorporation Amendment Act, will also be considered by the Standing Committee on Social and Economic Development on Tuesday, May 12, 2026 at 6 p.m.
Been announced that in addition to the bills previously referred, that Bill 300, the Winnipeg Foundation Amendment Act, and Bill 301, the Westminster United Church Foundation Incorporation Amendment Act, will also be considered by the Standing Committee on Social and Economic Development on Tuesday, May 12, 2026 at 6 p.m. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Honourable Speaker, can you please call all stages of Bill 53?
We will now resume all stages of Bill 53. So right now the debate is on second reading of the referral amendment of Bill 53, the Budget Implementation and Tax Statutes Amendment Act 2026. Debate is standing in the name of the Honourable Member for La Vérendrye, who has 30 minutes remaining. The Honourable Member for La Vérendrye.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to speak to the referral amendment to Bill 53, the Budget Implementation and Tax Statutes Amendment Act of this year. And I want to begin by saying this very clearly. This bill does not meet the moment. Manitobans, as we know, are struggling. Families are paying more for groceries, more for gas, more for hydro, more for MPI to insure their vehicle to drive on the road, more for rent, more for their mortgages, and more for education and property tax. And what does this government offer them? Pennies on a Slurpee. Pennies on a Slurpee, pennies on their rotisserie chicken, pennies on a handful of prepared grocery items. But, Honourable Speaker, Manitobans are smarter than that. They know the difference between real affordability relief and political spin. This government wants Manitobans to focus on the few cents they might save at the till while ignoring the hundreds and thousands of dollars being taken from them through higher taxes, higher utility costs, higher school taxes, and higher debt that this government plans to carry. That's not affordability, that's a shell game. And when it comes to agriculture, economic development, and job creation, this budget is even worse. It has no serious plan to grow our economy, no serious plan to support those producers, and no serious plan to attract investment. No serious plan to make Manitoba the competitive place that we can be. Honourable Speaker, agriculture is one of the foundations of Manitoba's economy. It feeds our families, supports our rural communities, creates jobs, drives exports, and keeps this province moving. That's why, Honourable Speaker, we've brought forward this amendment. But under this NDP government, agriculture producers are seeing more regulation, more red tape, higher costs, and very little to no support. Honourable Speaker, that support is diminishing in front of their eyes. Producers are facing high fuel costs, record high fertilizer costs, high equipment costs, higher interest rates, and the global uncertainty that we all face. They're being asked to produce more, compete even harder, and carry more risk. Well, this government makes it harder, not easier to do business for those producers. So I ask, Honourable Speaker, where is the plan to support value-added agriculture in this BITSA bill? Where's the plan to help those producers expand? Where's the plan to get approvals moving faster so that we can attract the investment we so desperately need in this province? Where's the plan to make Manitoba the best place in Canada to invest in food production? I'll tell you, Honourable Speaker, it's not in this bill. It's not in this budget as a whole. and it certainly is not in the Premier's speeches. Instead, this government talks about affordability while making food production more expensive. They talk about growth while slowing approvals. They talk about jobs while creating uncertainty for the employers. Honourable Speaker, you cannot make food more affordable by making it harder and more expensive to grow, process, transport, and sell that food. That's simply basic economics, and this government should understand that. In my part of the province, in southeastern Manitoba, we have some of the most productive agriculture land in the country. We have livestock operations, grain farms, dairy farms, processors, manufacturers, trucking companies, equipment dealers, and entrepreneurs who are ready to grow this province into the best province in our country. They do not need government to get in the way. They need government to get the basics right. They need drainage maintenance, they need road upgrades, and they need reliable permitting. They need competitive taxes, and they need access to labor. They need rules that are predictable, not increased regulation. But time and time again, this government chooses regulation over results. And that, Honourable Speaker, is why we bring forward this amendment. Honourable Speaker, I'll give you an example. Look at Bill 21. Rural Manitobans have raised serious concerns about the government's approach to community wells, bulk water access, agriculture water access, and long-standing rural water systems. Instead of listening first, this government moved ahead with a one-size-fits-all approach that risks forcing costly requirements on communities that have safely managed their water systems for decades. That is the problem with this government, and that's just one example. They do not understand rural Manitoba. They do not understand how agriculture works. They do not understand the practical realities, the people who actually produce the food that ends up on our Manitoba tables. And then they have the nerve to stand up and say that they're concerned about food affordability. They don't even understand where it starts. Honourable Speaker, if this government was serious about food affordability, it would start by supporting the people who grow the food, transport that food, process the food, and sell it. Instead, they're offering pennies on grocery items and pretending that that's going to be enough to make a difference. The real solution is to let Manitobans keep more of their own money. This isn't government's money. This is the hard-earned money from those entrepreneurs, those trained tradespeople, the people that are really growing our province.
Hear, hear.
That is why our caucus has called for a major increase to the basic personal exemption. A $30,000 basic personal exemption would put up to roughly $1,500 back into the pockets of individuals. And for a two-income household, that would be over $3,000 a year. That, Honourable Speaker, is real money. That is real noticeable money. You know what that is? That's groceries. That's fuel. That is kids' clothes. That is their rent. That is hydro bills. That is car payments. That is simply giving Manitobans some breathing room. And unlike this government's tiny PST gimmick, it would help working Manitobans every single paycheck. And that is why we bring forward this amendment. Honourable Speaker, the fastest way to fight inflation is to let Manitobans keep more of their own money. But instead of doing that, this government cancelled indexation on tax brackets and the basic personal exemption. That means every year, inflation quietly pushes Manitobans into paying more and more taxes. That is a tax increase. The government can dress it up however they want, but Manitobans know the truth. When their paycheck does not go as far, when their bills go up, and when government takes more, each and every Manitoban feels it month after month after month. And that's what they're getting with this government. And now, the same government that raised taxes through bracket creep wants credit for taking PST off a few small grocery items. Honorable Speaker, Manitobans are smart. They won't be fooled. These are the same Manitobans, these are the same people that have led not only our province, but our country and around the world. These are the entrepreneurs, these are the tradespeople, these are the trained professionals that have been recognized for over a century. They know that if government takes hundreds of dollars from one pocket and gives them pennies back in the other, they are still worse off. And on economic development, this bill has missed an opportunity. Manitoba should be growing. We have resources. We have agriculture. We have manufacturing. We have transportation advantages that don't exist anywhere else in our country. We have mining potential. We have hard-working people. We have entrepreneurs who simply want to build. But this government has no growth plan. They talk about Churchill like it's a magic answer to every economic problem that Manitoba has ever faced. Churchill matters, and I've said that time and time again. I've said it in estimates, I've said it in question period, I've said it in debate in this House. Northern development matters, and trade corridors are essential to our economic growth. But one project years down the road cannot be the entire economic strategy for this province. Where is the mining plan? Where is the permitting plan? Where is the plan for value-added agriculture? We haven't seen any of those, Honourable Speaker. Those are things that each and every time we ask the question, we're told that there's a plan. There's a plan to reduce red tape. There's a plan to expand mineral extraction in our province.
Concepts of a plan.
But we haven't seen this plan. We haven't seen the plan for manufacturing. We haven't seen a plan for rural economic development. We haven't seen a plan to make Manitoba competitive, make it competitive with our neighboring provinces like Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Ontario, who clearly understand what it takes to grow a province. Honourable Speaker, we hear the talk, we hear the political ploys and stunts outside of this legislature, inside this legislature, but we need to see the action. Honourable Speaker, again, we've brought forward ideas that have been set into action in other provinces. We've seen in those other provinces the results that are obtained through those plans. One of those is a single desk business model approach for major projects. We've seen it in other provinces. We've seen the action that they're taking to break down the silos of regulation. Provinces like Saskatchewan that are absolutely booming in economic growth. In these models, we see clear timelines. We need this for our investors. We need a government that says yes to responsible development instead of sending businesses through a maze of departments, delays, and uncertainty. Honorable Speaker, these are the things that businesses recognize in a province. These are the things that'll attract investment so that we can stop seeing the exodus of investment in our province, of trade potential in our province. Honorable Speaker, this province's very own report has just come out saying that exports for our province, Manitoba, we definitely can realize, is export dependent. We've got relatively low population for the massive potential that we have. 27.3% decrease in exports in 1 year, Honorable Speaker. We're not talking over a decade. This isn't a slow decline or a slippery slope. This is as severe and slick of a slope as we get. We've lost more than a quarter of our exports in 1 year. And I've asked the minister, I've had opportunities to ask this minister responsible for economic development as to what the reason is and what is going to be done to actually build and develop the export potential of our province. And what do we get? We get the blame game that our neighboring country, the United States, is to blame for the drastic decline. Well, Honorable Speaker, we break that further down and we look at the numbers and we continue to ask the minister, where exactly has the decline been seen and where can we improve? Well, we're told that it's the tariffs with the United States that's causing all this uncertainty, and that's what's stopping the trade, and that's the reduction of the trade that we're seeing. Honorable Speaker, outside of U.S. trade, we have seen a 9% decrease in trade to all other trade partners in 1 year. We're pushing 10% outside of the United States. That's concerning, Honorable Speaker. That is extremely concerning, because if we say we need to diversify our trade markets, we all agree. We can both sides of the House can come together and say, we need to diversify our trade markets. Everyone agrees. We need to realize that something needs to be done to expand markets outside of the U.S. trade. But, Honorable Speaker, we're not seeing that happen. We've got a trade representative specifically dedicated to the United States, which we're saying, there's no hope there. We need to give up on the United States trade. We need to spend billions of dollars, and the answer is going to be building the Port of Churchill. And once we build the Port of Churchill, then we're going to be able to expand to new markets. We've got all these customers around the world. That's great. It's necessary. It needs to be done. But where is the action? The minister responsible hasn't delivered on a single new trade deal. Today in question period, I asked the minister, simply tell Manitobans one new trade deal. They're starting to get real concerned that they see nearly 30% decrease in trade for our province. Like, we're talking $2 billion. Like, this NDP government talks about a $500,000 potential deficit, and then it turns into 500 million, I should say, potential deficit that then turns into $1 billion, then turns into $1.6 billion. The amount of trade that this province has lost in the last year amounts to $1.6 billion of loss. Just imagine what's going to need to be, when the NDP talk about cuts, Just imagine what that is going to lead to. And the agriculture minister, who should be leading the province in expanding trade deals, because guess where most of that trade decline comes from? It comes from agriculture. And the minister responsible is sitting here in the chamber instead of being up in his office doing the hard work to build new trade deals. We've got an...
Order, please. I would remind all honourable members that order. I'd remind all honourable members that stating whether a member is present or not is not allowed by the rules. The honourable member for La Vérendrye.
Thank you. Thank you for that guidance, Honourable Speaker, and I apologize for that misstep. Honourable Speaker, the same agriculture minister who is currently failing Manitoba's agriculture industry on developing any new trade should also just sign on to the provincial website to find these statistics and these facts that he's concerned about wanting to see tabled. I think during the time here in debate, it's easy enough to dial up the good old data cell phone and search it, and you can find 1.6 billion, and that's billion with a B, that we have lost in trade just in 1 year, with no plan whatsoever on how we're going to change that in the years to come. Honourable Speaker, businesses do not invest or they cannot get answers. Capital does not wait forever, and that's what we're starting to see. I've given many examples in the past, both in bill debate, in question period, and in committee. Jobs don't appear by accident. Economic growth requires a plan, and this government does not have one of those. And we see that in our job growth as well. Manitobans do not just need government announcements. They need private sector jobs. They need careers. They need opportunities that allow them to raise a family, buy a home, and stay in this province. But under this government, we're seeing too much reliance on public spending and not enough focus on private sector growth. Government cannot tax, borrow, and spend its way into prosperity. You cannot build a strong economy by making it harder for employers to hire, harder for farmers to produce, harder for processors to expand, and harder for those investors to get the approvals they need to unleash our potential. That is exactly why we are moving in the wrong direction. And Honourable Speaker, that is why we bring this amendment forward. This budget continues on the government's growing dependency on federal transfers. It's shocking, Honourable Speaker. More than a third of provincial revenues now come from federal transfers. That should concern every member of this House, and I know that it concerns every Manitoban in the public. A province that wants to be strong cannot simply depend on Ottawa forever. We need to grow our economy. We need to develop our resources, and we need to create our own jobs. We need to build our own tax base. But this government is not doing that. Instead, they are running deficits, growing debt, increasing taxes, and offering Manitobans tiny savings while the cost of government keeps rising. The Finance Minister says the deficit will be approximately $500 million. But why should Manitobans believe that? This government has missed its deficit targets before. Last year's deficit was projected at roughly $800 million and came in far worse. Manitobans have seen this move before. The NDP announced one number, spend far beyond it, and then ask Manitobans to pick up the tab. And who pays? Families pay. Farmers pay. Those small businesses that we're recognizing today, they pay. Young people pay. Our future generations pay. Honorable Speaker, that is why Bill 53 needs real changes. If this government wants our support, it should bring forward meaningful affordability relief. Honorable Speaker, we've given the recommendations, we've given the suggestions. We're here elected by our communities because we want to see a better Manitoba for everybody. Honorable Speaker, we say bring everybody up to equality. The NDP's approach is bring everybody down to equality. It's the easier approach. It's much easier if everybody's struggling than it is to bring everybody up to a state of flourishing. That's why, Honorable Speaker, we need to increase the basic personal exemption. Let Manitobans earn more tax-free. Put real money back into the paychecks of Manitobans. Do something that families will actually feel. Because right now, this bill does not do that. Honorable Speaker, as a wise premier once said, we need to put more money on the kitchen table of Manitobans. Honorable Speaker, right now, this bits of bill does not do that.
He's getting the Order of Manitoba. Did you see that?
It tinkers around the edges. It offers these small, tiny savings that accomplish absolutely nothing. They come with big talking points. And it tries to distract Manitobans from the fact that their overall tax burden is going up, and going up substantially. And I want to speak directly about education property taxes. This government is collecting hundreds of millions of dollars more in education and school property taxes. Homeowners are being squeezed. Seniors on fixed incomes are being squeezed even more. Seniors are now selling their homes because they can't afford the property taxes. And what does this government offer? A delayed increase to the homeowner's rebate. Delayed relief is not relief at all. A promise for later does not help Manitoba families paying their bills today. Honorable Speaker, this government wants credit for affordability while making life more expensive. That is the core problem of this budget. They say one thing and do another. They say they support workers, but they canceled indexation. They say they support families, but taxes keep rising. They say they support farmers, but regulations keep increasing. They say they support economic development, but investment confidence is walking out the door. They say they support jobs, but they have no private sector growth plan. And they say they support affordability, but their big answer is PST on grocery store chips. That is not a serious plan. Manitoba needs better. Manitoba needs a government that understands agriculture is not an afterthought. It is the cornerstone of our economy. Manitoba needs a government that understands rural communities are not a problem to regulate. They are the partners in growth. Manitoba needs a government that understands entrepreneurs are not endless sources of tax revenue. They are job creators. Manitoba needs a government that understands affordability is not about press releases, it is about paychecks. Honorable Speaker, the people I represent are practical people. They know the value of a dollar. They know what it means to work hard. They know what it means to plan for a crop, manage risk, repair equipment, hire staff, pay bills, and make their payroll. They do not need a government that is overreaching their limits. What they do expect of government is to not make things worse. And right now, this government is making things worse. It is making it more expensive to live here. It is making it harder to invest here, and it is making it harder to grow here. That is what this bill is about. Honourable Speaker, that is what this bill should have done. And that is what this government has failed to do. Honourable Speaker, Manitobans do not need pennies and slogans. They need a government with a plan for affordability, a plan for agriculture, a plan for economic development, and a plan to build jobs. A plan to grow Manitoba into a stronger, more competitive province, the province we know it can be. Bill 53 does not provide that plan. And until this government is prepared to deliver real relief and real growth, this legislation
The honourable member's time has expired. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Which, Honourable Speaker, I just want to put a couple of words on the record in support of Bill 53, which has amazing things in this bill and in our budget to be able to support Manitoba families right now. As usual, the Manitoba PCs are delaying, with a variety of different tactics, the passage of our bill. Why are they doing that? Because they don't care about Manitobans. They have proved over and over and over again that this crop of PCs don't care about Manitoba families. They don't care about Manitobans that are struggling. All they care about is themselves. They want to collect their base salary of $112,000 a year to sit on their hand and do nothing but delay, 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 and make things more harder for Manitobans. So my message is for Manitobans. I want you to know what the Manitoba PCs are doing right now as we speak. So for those folks that may not know, Bill 53 would allow us, starting July 1st, to remove all PST on groceries in the store. Thank you. Yes. The good work of our Minister of Finance and our Premier, who since we formed government have tried to make life more affordable for Manitobans, including cutting taxes. And what I will say, the difference between us on this side of the House and that get-along gang over there is that they cut taxes for the very rich, for the folks that they care about. We cut taxes and make sure that life is affordable for all Manitobans. And so starting July 1st, if the PCs stop delaying Bill 53, starting July 1st, there will be no PST on groceries. But on top of that, Bill 53 also strengthens affordability in housing. Everybody knows that Manitobans are struggling in respect of housing costs. We know that as a government, and that's why we are making things better and more affordable. We are increasing to the homeowners' affordability tax credit to $1,700 for Manitobans to be able to get that money back right now. So I just wanted to get up here to tell Manitobans that the Manitoba PCs, of which you pay their salaries in your taxes, are sitting on their hands doing nothing but delaying Bill 53 and delaying the affordability measures that we, our government, who cares for Manitobans, are trying to put in place. So I encourage Manitobans. I'm going to post this video. I'm going to have everybody's contact information in there, including the leader of the opposition, all of his contact contact information. I encourage Manitobans to call them, to email, to DM, and ask them what they're doing with their $112,000 a year job, that they're just delaying everything on behalf of all Manitobans. So I encourage you to reach out to them. Our government cares for Manitobans. That is what Bill 53 is about. And we're looking forward to this bill passing as soon as members opposite decide to get off their hands and do what is in the best interest of Manitobans.
Hear, hear.
The honourable member for Roblin.
So much to respond to. So much to respond to from the minister's comments just now, and I don't know why she's yelling. The fact of the matter is, they're playing games. She asks what we're doing with our salaries. What is she doing with her $170,000-odd salary other than slandering ASL interpreters? I don't know, Honourable Speaker. The fact of the matter is that very member could have ensured that BITSA was introduced before the backstop and it guaranteed its passage. She failed to do that. The second thing she left out of her tirade is that government does not need anybody on this side of the House to do anything in order to pass their junk food tax cut. They can do that all on their own. They want you, Manitobans, to believe them when they say that we're standing in the way. Let me tell you, we are not standing in the way. We are standing up for real affordability measures for Manitobans. She may want to post that clip. That's fine. I'll post my clip with her contact information. And I'll encourage Manitobans to reach out to her and ask why she failed to introduce BITSA before the backstop to guarantee its passage. To ask why she's so inept with her job as House Leader that she can't manage to introduce legislation in time to get it passed.
It'll never happen.
The Minister of Education loves to stand in their place and heckle. I'd encourage them instead
Order,
to
please. The Honourable Minister of Education needs to come to order. The Honourable Member for Roblin.
Instead of heckling me, maybe the Minister of Education would like to go and build some childcare spaces in my constituency. Get on with the job of renovating Phoenix schools. They're applauding, but the very funniest thing is they haven't opened a single new childcare space in Charleswood or Headingley since taking office. Maybe they'd like to go back to their office and do that instead of standing in here and heckling me. Now, the one thing I will speak in favor of today is the motion from my colleague, the member for Interlake Gimli, who yesterday introduced a motion calling for this bill to be brought to committee. Now, I can't understand why members of the NDP wouldn't want this bill brought to committee. If they believe in it so strongly, they should bring it to committee today. But they won't. For the past 2 years, the NDP have jammed everything but the kitchen sink into their BITSA bills by tacking on other pieces of legislation as schedules, as a means to circumvent the democratic process and to circumvent the means by which members of the public have a say on the legislation. So we, on this side of the House, have called for all budget implementation bills, such as BITSA, to be taken to a legislative committee for at least 10 hours for presentations and to hear from the public and stakeholders on the measures being taken each year. That provision was brought forward in a bill last year from my colleague, the member from Midland, but it was not supported by the government. No surprise, they didn't allow that bill to pass. And that's because they don't favor accountability or transparency when it's about them or their government. Even while that bill, Bill 224, was being debated, the government House Leader, the member for St. John's, the one who just treated us to that yelling tirade, refused to bring back Committee of Supply or BITSA for debate later in the fall, and just allowed it to hit the backstop with almost no debate at all and no opportunity for the public to have their say in the legislative process. And the lack of transparency by the NDP is one reason why my colleague, the member for Interlake Gimli, moved that motion yesterday, because we need more transparency from this government. But since they're not going to allow that, I want to put on the record today some of the reasons that we need this bill to go to committee, some of the reasons why Bill 53 is so problematic, and some of the concerns that have been raised with me by constituents and other Manitobans. This BITSA bill does not meaningfully address affordability concerns for Manitobans. I think we've established that. It doesn't do anything to address the skyrocketing property taxes that are occurring under this NDP government. Their failure to properly fund education has left it to school divisions to raise property taxes in the city of Winnipeg to unprecedented levels. And I want to read these into the record. I'm quoting now from the insert that I received with my property tax bill. So it's a public document. It's an insert from the city of Winnipeg that they felt necessary to include with property tax bills this year because they're tired of taking the heat for the provincial government's inability to properly fund education. And according to the city of Winnipeg, who's a pretty reliable source, I would say, since this government took office, Louis Riel School Division has raised taxes by 43.1%.
That is crazy.
In Seven Oaks, they've raised property taxes by 37.7% in just 2.5 years. I hear the Minister of Justice saying that I should blame this on school trustees. I won't. This is a failure of the current government to properly fund education. In Pembina Trails, the school division where I represent a great number of property owners, property taxes have increased by 37.3%. And I can tell you, based on the number of constituents who have reached out to me, they are not better off under this government's property tax plan. River East Transcona has increased property taxes by 36.2%. And again, Honourable Speaker, the reason I'm reading these into the record is because these have very real impacts on affordability for Manitobans. And the NDP purports that Bill 53 addresses affordability, but it does nothing to address this. It does nothing to address skyrocketing property taxes that are occurring under this government because of their failure to properly fund education. Moving on, Winnipeg School Division has increased taxes by 29%. Interlake School Division, 28.8%. St. James Assiniboia School Division, my constituents in Headingley fall within that school division, has increased property taxes by 26.2%. And Seine River has increased property taxes by 24.2%. Those are astounding numbers, Honourable Speaker, and I think they speak to a very serious affordability concern. And, repeatedly we see this government hide behind municipalities. They hide behind school divisions and school trustees, but they're not giving them a chance to come to committee and have their say on BITSA because they won't call the bill to committee. Another way that the current NDP government has failed Manitobans when it comes to affordability, and this is very serious, is by de-indexing income tax brackets. That has resulted in what we call bracket creep. It decreases the purchasing value of every dollar Manitobans earn because they're paying more in taxes. It's a sneaky tax grab, and it's something that this NDP government is doing, literally taking money out of the pockets of Manitobans. Affordability issues continue to plague my constituents and others across Manitoba because Manitoba leads the country in inflation, and in particular, food inflation. And I'm here talking about things like meat, vegetables, fruit, items that are already PST exempt, items that most of us rely on to feed our families. All of our grocery bills have skyrocketed, and the pennies that the NDP is proposing that Manitobans will save on chips and pop and other prepared foods do nothing to help with the cost of the real staples that Manitobans depend on to feed their families. And that's a fact. We've seen the consequences of this out-of-control food inflation in Manitoba because food bank usage is at an all-time high. Now, I think the most effective way that a government could address this issue is by allowing Manitobans to keep more of their money, to spend it on groceries as they see fit, not saving... No, the members opposite are heckling me again, but that's not what they're proposing to do. They're proposing to save Manitobans a few cents, a few pennies per grocery bill on prepared foods, but they're not doing anything to deal with the cost of ground beef. The fact that a jug of milk is $5.94. You know, the Minister of Justice is asking me if I do my own grocery shopping. Oh my goodness. So every weekend, I make multiple grocery trips because I'll tell them this. I have 4 kids, and I know what it is to feed a family and how my grocery bills have skyrocketed. They crow on and on about the cost of a 1-liter carton of milk.
Order, please. I would ask members, if they wish to have a conversation, to take it somewhere else. I'm trying to listen to the member who has the floor, and people hollering back and forth across is not helping me hear that person. The honourable member for Roblin.
Meanwhile, a jug of milk costs $5.94. I don't know about other families, that lasts about a day and a half in my house. So it's going to take more than 2 cents off a liter of milk to result in substantive savings for families. Hydro rates are going up under this government. Pharmacare deductibles have gone up. They kind of sneaked that one in. So now Manitoba families are paying more for their costs of the medications that they need just to survive. Again, this NDP government isn't on the side of Manitobans who are dealing with real affordability challenges. And in addition to not being on the side of individual Manitobans, they are very clearly not on the side of small businesses. Small businesses that are employing Manitobans, creating jobs, driving our economy, and this NDP government is actively working against them. They've done nothing in this BITSA bill to address the rising costs that small businesses face in this province. And I want to talk a little bit about restaurants in particular, because the NDP chose to leave restaurants out of this so-called affordability measures. And there was a very interesting article in the Winnipeg Free Press today that noted restaurant owners are warning of layoffs and a strain on Manitoba's economy if this bill, Bill 53, that we're debating today, moves forward as it is. And I'll quote from today's Winnipeg Free Press. Restaurants Canada issued a statement Monday after learning, despite meeting with the province's finance minister, that restaurant food would continue to be taxed provincially. Quote, it's shocking that we have a government that has a policy that's going to go into place and it's going to negatively impact a significant economic driver, unquote. That was Kelly Higginson, the national president of Restaurants Canada. And make no mistake, restaurants are a significant economic driver in Manitoba. They generate about $3.5 billion in annual sales in Manitoba. They employ over 42,000 people, 40% of which are youth. And we know that there's a youth unemployment crisis in this country, and restaurants are doing what they can to solve that problem, no thanks to this government that's actively working against them. Higginson went on to say that BITSA, as written, quote, puts those jobs at risk, unquote. That's because, and this is a basic business lesson for members opposite, if sales decline, restaurants will have to reduce their hours and lay off their staff. There's a way around that. You know, the NDP could choose to treat restaurants equitably and fairly in their tax measures, but they're choosing not to, and that ignores some very real issues that restaurants in particular have dealt with in recent years. The number one issue, I would say, of course, being that skyrocketing, out-of-control food inflation. That's behind labor costs. The cost of food is their next biggest budget item. And this government is doing nothing to help them with that. A lot of these restaurants are still recovering from the COVID pandemic. They're dealing with labor challenges, and this government is doing nothing in this BITSA bill to help them. And never mind if you're a restaurant who owns your property, because you are now paying substantially more in property taxes under this NDP government than you ever were under a PC government, and that's because this NDP government chose to claw back the entirety of the property tax, education property tax rebate for commercial properties. Commercial property owners get zilch in terms of property tax relief from this NDP government. Another increased cost put on business owners by the NDP. We can't forget that this is the same government that chose to gut regulatory accountability legislation and allows red tape to grow unchecked. And they never believe this, but I'll keep on saying it. Red tape comes with a real, tangible cost to business owners. It's a cost in terms of time to comply with unnecessary regulations. I'm not talking about safety regulations. Business owners will tell you they entirely support regulations designed to protect the safety of their staff and their customers. We're talking about unnecessary bureaucracy that this government, nobody does it better than the NDP, let me tell you. This is the same government who's put in place an incredibly damaging Manitoba Jobs Agreement that's going to drive up the cost of projects for Manitobans and keep Manitoba businesses that use non-unionized labor from getting involved in public projects. It's bad for Manitoba businesses. This is the same government that moved the apprenticeship ratio from 2-to-1 to 1-to-1, which limits the number of apprentices being trained and creates an additional challenge for businesses already dealing with a challenging labor market. There's so many ways that this government is working against small businesses, and this BITSA bill could have been an opportunity to address some of those. Instead, they forge ahead with this half-baked bill without giving any consideration to the needs of the small business community. This is a government that has now cut post-secondary training programs designed to grow Manitoba's workforce at a time when many Manitoba businesses are dealing with significant labor challenges, which are, of course, a huge barrier to growth. We've seen programs cut at MITT and Red River College, and it's no surprise because this is a government, it's been well established, they have no vision for economic growth for Manitoba, and you'll see the evidence of that. The evidence is that Manitoba has the slowest GDP growth in all of Canada under the NDP. The evidence is that for 6 consecutive quarters, business exits have outpaced new business starts. That's a really troubling indicator that tells you what life is like for small businesses under the current NDP government. Businesses are voting with their feet. And I do want to talk about a couple of issues with BITSA itself, and I'm going to go back again to this half-baked affordability measure that the NDP is proposing. It seems like they didn't really think it through. So first, it applied only to big grocery stores, and they were duly chastened for that misstep on their part because they never should have excluded small businesses from that measure. Now it includes all of the grocery stores, but it still doesn't include the restaurants. The restaurants are asking for it to be part of this, and the government is still saying no. But when I was reading the bill, I noticed there's also a provision that says they're not going to take the tax off foods if they're ordered online. And I'm not sure that I understand the rationale for that decision, Honourable Speaker. When I think about seniors, people with disabilities, busy parents who want to order their groceries from Instacart or DoorDash, they're not going to get that tax relief under this NDP government. None of what the NDP is proposing in BITSA is a real affordability measure. Real affordability would be allowing Manitobans to keep more of their own hard-earned money, but of course that's something that the NDP is just ideologically opposed to. They don't.
Order, please. When this matter is again before the House, the honourable member will have 12 minutes remaining. The hour being 5 o'clock, this House is adjourned and stands adjourned until 1:30 tomorrow.